Okay, boom. Alex Bregman is a Chicago Cub. Fuck. It's 2 p.m. the next day. Tyler, by the way, was fucking... Oh, man. Tyler was asleep when this happened.
It's not funny, man. It's not funny. It's very funny.
It was kind of funny. I was 20 minutes late to it. Like, we were watching some show on Netflix, and, like, my phone wasn't in my pocket. It was face up on the couch, but, like, over here. And I just, like, wasn't looking at it. And then 20 minutes go by, and like I look at my phone and I have 50 text messages, and I was like, immediately I know he has signed somewhere. I didn't know if it was here or not. And then I'm searching through like the text messages and like all the notifications on my screen, and it's like, oh, it's the Cubs. Fuck. I couldn't fucking believe it. I really couldn't. And I know that there's like Red Sox fans are furious right now. I'm still trying to process that this even happened at all, you know? Like, I'll get to anger. I don't think I've arrived at anger yet. I'm still, like, in the what the fuck just happened part of this. So there's a million different angles that we're going to take here today. I'm sure you're going to hear Rafael Devers' name a couple times on this episode. But where do you guys want to start? I mean, we have to talk about where the Red Sox go from here. We have to talk about how they fucked this up. We have to talk about the historical perspective of, you know, dating back to the Devers stuff. There's so many different avenues that we can go here. Where would you guys like to begin?
I think starting with what details we have on the contract offer, seemingly from the Red Sox side, which John Heyman has it 5 years, roughly $160 million. Said there's deferrals. So as we saw with the Cubs, 175. Present day value is between 150 and 155, according to Ken Rosenthal. So we look at the Red Sox side there, and we have that 160 number. Did they present day come around 140? And over the last hour, we've gotten more details from Sean McAdam saying that the Cubs giving Bregman a full no trade clause was a significant portion of their agreement, something the Red Sox weren't willing to do, citing organizational policy. And now everyone's kind of scrambling, trying to figure out the last time there was a Red Sox full no trade clause. I've gone all the way back to the Carl Crawford, Adrian Gonzalez contracts, Pablo Hanley. Those all had partial no trade clauses, but not full. So yeah, I think it's that portion. And Jared, this is something you had said, Jake, if you have to bleep it. Behind the scenes, that the deferrals, the way they were structured, was in a way that was way too far off, or in a way that Bregman wasn't happy. McAdam has since reported the same thing.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, so like as far as the deferrals go, yeah, like the Red Sox deferrals were pretty far down the street. Yeah, the like there was a signing bonus that there was deferrals, and they went deferral heavy. And that's not to say that the Cubs didn't do the exact same thing, because they obviously did. But I don't know, man. Like if it was the difference of like just throwing in the no trade clause or not, why not just fucking do it? Like what are we doing here with like...
Well, especially when you're this version of the Red Sox that, you know, you're not going to eat money to move the contract. So whatever you're paying him $30 million in his mid-30s, it's going to be an extremely hard contract to move one way or the other. But that should be a bullet you're willing to eat with your competitive window wide open, where you're saying, hey, we can't just run it back. We need to be aggressive and decisive, right? Those were the buzzwords. We can't run it back. And yet we're now in a place where running it back is maybe best case scenario, or at least what you would call them right now, with Wilson Contreras in and Alex Bregman out. But I think for where the Red Sox are right now and like the entire situation involving Alex Bregman, the last 10 days or so, I was someone on this podcast who was extremely confident. I talked last episode saying, and someone's clipped me and you, Jared, I don't know if you saw it on Cubs Twitter, being like, we're not scared of the Cubs. The truth was, January 1st, Mark Feinsand, Diamondbacks and Blue Jays are at the front. Those are the two most aggressive teams. We see the Blue Jays fall out after getting Okamoto. They're in on Kyle Tucker. The D-backs can't move Marte. That takes them seemingly out of the Bregman sweepstakes for the most part. The Cubs last year had an embarrassingly bad offer. of like 4 years, 115 to 120 million, depending on what reporting you want to look at. I don't think anyone saw them jumping to the front of the line, and here they did. And you look at the Cubs this decade, they've operated a lot like the Red Sox as this like wannabe big market team, but they're really closer to, mid-market or like top 10. And this is them, even with the Cubs books, they are still going to be under the first luxury tax, which speaks to how bloated the Red Sox, luxury tax system is right now with contracts like Yoshida and Jordan Hicks that bring you back to the disaster of the Rafael Devers trade.
Yeah, man. I don't know. I've been, as far as like the lead up to it, I was sitting 50-50. I think I opened the offseason at it wouldn't surprise me if they announced this in November, like hopefully they started talking during the season to establish some sort of framework, and then we can make some progress. Because I remember the Juan Soto stuff was heating up around Thanksgiving last winter. So it's like, all right, yeah, like I feel like we could probably get something done, hopefully in November, but at the worst case, early December. And like, we'll just get this done early because he wants to be here. The Red Sox now see how valuable he is to the team. And you've freed up the Rafael Devers money, so you don't have to go, looking for pennies under the couch and being like, how do we possibly afford someone like Alex Bregman? Like, they have the money. So I thought it was going to get done early. And then once we got to Christmas and had no Alex Bregman, and that's when I believe, what was it, mid-December, I want to say, is when I came out with the D-back stuff. So once the D-backs entered the fray, I was like, I can see the fit. Like, this is where he lives. This is a winning team. This is an organization that every so often will just pop up out of nowhere and spend a shit ton of money on a free agent or an extension for one of their own players. Like, they're like a mid-market team that sneaky spends big money sometimes. So that's when I was like, oh, okay. Like, I feel a little threatened right now. But obviously, yeah, like to your point, T, like the clip when we were talking on the last episode about the Cubs, and I was like, yeah, I'm not worried about the Cubs because they kind of operated, like you said, like the Red Sox do. Well, they'll be interested. They'll be in the mix, but will they go for the throat? Will they go that extra mile to get the guy? History would tell us no. Ken
Rosenthal had that in his piece like 2 days ago talking about Bregman's market.
Yeah, like I feel like even though I was wrong, I don't think that my read on the Cubs was wrong. Like I shouldn't have been worried or concerned about the Cubs. Now it's like, all right, cool. Like now there's one example of them going the extra mile to get the guy. But at the time that didn't exist. So no. But yeah, I think probably for the last month, I've been sitting 50-50. I know, T, you said that, you were confident that he was coming back. I wasn't confident. And it's because I told you, like, he went dark. He went dark on like the Red Sox and Red Sox adjacent people. And I was like, this is not how last offseason went. So once that started happening, I was like, this is different. Like this is business Breggy. This isn't like, hometown Boston Breggy, Sam Adams Breggy. Like this isn't the same guy that I thought we were going to get this time around. But yeah, I when I saw the breaking news tweet, you could have told me it was any team and I would have believed you. I was prepared for any outcome. I wasn't stunned that it wasn't the Red Sox, but like I am stunned that he's not coming back. I don't know. It's a weird feeling. Like it's a weird feeling because I guess that's what it means to truly be 50-50, to be prepared for any outcome. Like, oh shit, he's coming back. Oh shit, he's leaving. Like, yeah, I don't know. I was very much on the fence for the last month. And I would like to say that, all right, well now, historically speaking, I know we never got like any public comment about it because that wouldn't have made sense, but did Craig Breslow ever like the player, or was that Cora? Was that Sam Kennedy? Was that John Henry? Did Breslow like the player? We don't know. I think so. Here's kind of why it's so frustrating on top of the obvious with the Devers situation. It's frustrating because when we were at Fenway Fest Saturday, Red Sox folks were like pretty gung-ho about Bregman. Like, all right, it's like nuts are on the
We should have
table.
known.
You know, like so when I tweeted, I'll read you the tweet that I'm about to reference here. This was today. I'm starting to notice a trend where the Red Sox think that they've done all that's necessary to acquire a player via trade or free agency, when in reality, they're so far away from actually doing so. I need you to understand how alarming that is to have this to have happened multiple times now. So what I'm referring to, obviously, is at the trade deadline, the Joe Ryan thing, where if you talk to Red Sox people, they're like, dude, we fucking had him. Like, he was in a Red Sox uniform.
We made the jersey.
Yeah, like we already had his locker tag and his everything. Like, it was ready to go. Then if you talk to Twins people, they were like, we weren't even fucking close. Like, we were on the 10-yard line on the other side of the field. I don't know what they were talking about. And now with the Bregman thing, like, it's very much like, you know, Red Sox people, like the Buster Olney report, super aggressive offer. And then Red Sox people will tell you, like, we did everything. You know, we put our fucking nuts on the table, and, you know, we did everything we could to make this happen. But then if you talk to the Boris side, they're like, yeah, no, like the Cubs offer like was head and shoulders above. So I don't know. Like, that's what's alarming to me is an inability, I guess, to read the market, or just not, like, you're taking the human element out of it. I fear, like, doesn't this reek of, we have our computer models and we have our data that it spits out at us, and if the situation surpasses our projections, we're out. Like the computer says this, so we're sticking with this. Like, don't you, if you really want the player, fuck the model. Like, like, you're gonna have to do that from time to time. So yeah, like that's why, you know, talking about it out loud, does it shock me that he's not coming back? No, because like I feel like this regime has not shown a tendency to go the extra mile. Like, it just hasn't. We haven't seen that. And I know Coley, I've, you know, just from reading the tweets, you don't love the deal that Bregman signed for
an objectively stupid deal, like really bad deal.
Yeah, you don't love the deal that from the Cubs side of things.
Yeah, I don't understand it at all.
Sure, but I mean, if what I was kind of saying yesterday, because the big, you know, the scuttlebutt yesterday was the first team that goes 6 gets the player, and I said I don't think anyone is going 6. So if the Red Sox are at 5 and their competitor or competitors are at 5 and in the neighborhood of whatever the top bid is, I still think Bregman would choose the Red Sox. But I guess I didn't realize how much of a sticking point the no trade thing would be in all of this.
Yeah, I mean, that tells me like the Red Sox didn't, like, they were going to dump him for sure. Like, that was obviously.
If you're Bregman and you look at Rafael Devers, you're like, if they traded him, like, I could get flipped at any moment whenever they feel like they want it off the books or they don't like the player anymore.
That's where I was out on the model when it was like, this Devers guy is bad news. This guy right here, their model also has David Hamilton like a plus shortstop at the major league level.
That's why nothing like can send you into shock. Like that Devers notification, when that happened to me, it's like, while I was feeling confident that Bregman was coming back, you can't shock me at this point in time.
No, and you also can't trade Rafael Devers when his replacement's on a 1-year contract. Like, that's insane behavior. That's what they did. I was called out in real time. Like, hey, you just gave him quite literally all the leverage. If this is someone you want long term, my concern is he keeps identifying targets and then getting blown out of the water. Like, Cease was target 1 this offseason, and that never even got like mentioned because of how thoroughly it got blown out of the water by the Blue Jays. Like, that's a tough scene. There's several off seasons in a row where they're like, yeah, we're going to spend big money, and then they don't. And then you have them talking about the money they've spent via trade. Like, that's not the whole equation there either. You've substantially weakened your farm system by doing that. Like, I don't I don't know what this model is. I know it's proprietary. I know it's theirs. They own it. They love it. I miss Carmine. Carmine was much smarter than this fucking modern robot.
And like now you can talk like, and the reason I had stated it over the last couple podcasts was because it was a common talking point on Twitter. The Red Sox had added the 10th most money of any team. They are no longer in the top 10 with the deal the Cubs ended up giving out to Alex Bregman. But I do think when you start, Coley?
No, I was going to say the reason, because like we don't need to talk a lot about the Cubs. The reason I don't understand it from the Cubs' point of view is I would argue they're flush with infielders. And they just traded for Cabrera, which is why I talked about the Cubs last week when I said Craig doesn't know how to read the market. Why is Bayo still here? An injured Edward Cabrera was able to fetch Owen Cassie in the same offseason that they're letting Kyle Tucker walk out the door. And they want to, so it would be like us adding an outfielder.
I think that's a big way to look at it, though. I think with Kyle Tucker, they were very disappointed in his impact in the clubhouse and how he handled the media.
No doubt, but they also just traded their top outfield prospect, right? Like Cassie is. So that's where they were like, not only do we have a hole by letting Tucker walk, we're also trading likely his replacement in the same offseason. Like that. Meanwhile, we're like, we can't ever trade Marcelo Meyer, which I understand. Like, I don't necessarily disagree with that, but that's where the Cubs were just like, not only are we letting our outfielder, who we just traded for 1 year, walk, we're also going to trade his obvious easy fit replacement that we have in-house for a pitcher where we could just sign one. But they didn't want to do that. They wanted to use the money here. I would have just used the money on Tucker because he's a better player. I understand what you're saying. Over the summer, the entire fan base was like, the fuck's going on with this guy? He was taking breaks and shit. I thought it was weird last year that the Astros traded him, being how they've kept a lot of their guys. But clearly something's off there. I've called him JD Drew all offseason. JD Drew was not beloved everywhere he went either, but he was a fine ball player. I don't understand this for the Cubs at all. I think it's a crazy, crazy overpay. Happy for Bregman to get the overpay, but I think it's a really bad move on their behalf.
It seems like they're valuing that leadership in a lot of ways. And there were some quotes, I think it was Patrick Mooney's story today, just about Bregman, that there were players in the clubhouse in like April and May, like looking at what Bregman was doing with the Red Sox and the impact he was having and being like, if we had that guy, like that's kind of the tone we're looking for. And it does make me wonder with Bregman coming in, and you could talk about that outfield where, you know, it's Seiya Suzuki, Ian Happ and PCA. Do they maybe start looking at Shaw and saying this is a guy that will try in the outfield to maybe figure things out long term? Because now everyone's looking at Nico Horner and saying, could that guy be out? Is Shaw, with the off the field stuff that happened this past year, someone who could get flipped? And that's a guy we know in this Red Sox front office. It was a different regime. Paul Taboni, Devin Pearson back in those days. They liked him a lot in the draft, and he got picked one spot before Kyle Teal. So, you know, is there maybe a connection where they think they can jump on a young guy who maybe his value is a little bit lower, and he swung it a lot better in the second half? I think it was like a 130 WRC plus. But going back to what you were saying, Jared, about Breslow and maybe this inability to, you know, go past the model. First off, to treat free agency like it's anything other than, yeah, you're going to sign deals, especially for guys in their 30s with a bad year or two at the end. That's free agency. You are paying for past performance. That is the whole point of the free agency model. That is what it is. You're willing to have to, you know, pay a little extra on the back end. That's what these players earn. That's what the whole point of hitting free agency is. Oh yeah, that work you did, you're probably going to make out on the other end because you didn't make as much money in a perfect world as you should have in those first 10 years of your career. But you look at the major transactions, and there's three I look at in the Craig Breslow era. It's the Alex Bregman signing last year, the Garrett Crochet trade, and the Rafael Devers trade. Each one of those deals were not able to be facilitated alone by Craig Breslow. Why is that? I think it's just a flat out question. I don't know the answer, but as more stuff like this starts to come out, you're going to raise it. We can go back to the Garrett Crochet trade. We know the White Sox were done dealing with the Red Sox when Chris Getz was communicating directly with Craig Breslow. It was Mike Grootman, who had a great relationship with Chris Getz, that got that conversation going again after they missed out on Max Fried. So, okay, Mike Grootman plays a major role in getting that deal done. With Alex Bregman, we hear Theo Epstein played a major role in selling John Henry and working out this complex contract that he signed this past year. So Theo Epstein steps in on that Alex Bregman deal. Mike Grootman steps in on the other deal. We heard from the owner's mouth, the Giants owner, we don't get this deal done. I had to get on the phone with John Henry because Breslow was asking for too much at that point. We were not going to be able to come to terms. So he called John Henry and said, hey, do you want the money off the books or not? This is what it's going to be. They end up agreeing to that deal. We have one instance, of him being, willing to get uncomfortable or go crazy for someone post 30, and it's Max Fried, who they put 7 years on the table and were willing to do that. That to me is where you start to look at the inability of him to maybe. Oh, sorry.
Should we be looking at it as a negative that he was asking for more for Rafael Devers and didn't want to trade him?
No, I think that's a fair point in that conversation. But when we're talking about getting deals done and being difficult to maybe work with at times, it is an interesting thing to look at.
He
should have been asking more for Rafael Devers.
Correct.
Look at the fucking garbage return.
That's what I mean. I can't knock him for being like, hey, this is going to cost Bryce Eldridge or something of that level.
Of course.
And then John Henry overstepping and being like, this guy insulted me in Kansas City over a plate of barbecue. He simply must be terminated. He played shortstop before a game once. He must go. That's where it's like, all right, if that's the negative with Craig, great. If he's drawing lines with over 30 plus free agents, being like, I don't think it's smart to be paying a 38-year-old $35 million. I don't disagree with that. My problem is he is trying to sign these guys and he's failing. So it's like, I can disagree with the players he's going after. At a certain point, like Craig, when Heim signed Trevor Story, it was like, okay, he can do that. That's a thing he can do. Deal. When he signed Yoshida, it was like, look at this guy. He's throwing around big bucks all over the place. Both players have been bad. They're both bad. So
the Yoshida one is just tough for me because when the entire industry's like, dude, they
didn't start laughing until the Xander thing happened.
No, no. Boris, to accept the offer within 24 hours, we had executives across the game. The reports came out that people thought
all
the
of them
deal
came
was
out
bad.
the next morning being like, that was a crazy deal. But if we had gotten Xander too, I don't think they would have said that.
Wait, say that again. I'm sorry.
I'm saying because that night it was like, oh, they're getting Xander and Yoshida. Yoshida was like a bonus signing because we had already thought Xander was in the bag. Those laughing at the Red Sox reports weren't until Xander had picked the Padres. Then it was like, look at them. They signed Yoshida to this crazy, stupid deal.
Oh, no. I think the minute Yoshida signed, we were hearing executives being like,
there were for sure. I'm talking about the pointing and laughing that happened by baseball. Didn't happen until Xander left. I don't think that happens if Xander
people forget.
Stays.
The first half of 2023, Yoshida was an all-star candidate and he was leading the American League in batting average. So there was a time when we were looking back and be like, oh, you guys are fucking idiots. But to me, it's not simply in. Breslow should have been asking for more when it came to Devers. He's also the same guy with his model that is leaking to everyone the contract's underwater.
Sure,
McAdam very heavily emphasized on Fenway Rundown today being like, Devers was gone. He was going to be gone no matter what because Breslow did not like that deal. He did not agree with the philosophies of that deal. It was a matter of when, not if. And you could talk all you want about Bregman and what facilitated him, coming in and getting rid of Devers. Breslow wasn't a fan of that trade. And we know because he told us the first fucking time he spoke to everyone. The DH spot, you should rotate there. You should be willing to put different pieces there. So we know where he felt on that deal. To me, it's just, is this a guy, and there's been murmurs that he's not easy to work with, not easy to deal with, going back to the same partners quite frequently to complete trades. Is this more of an example where, damn, if someone doesn't step in and make him get it done or finish it or complete it, he's often sitting there in second or third place and having to move on to the next alternative.
And that's why earlier in the offseason, Jerry, when I was like, the front office is kind of emptying itself because people don't like working with them even inside the building, let alone in other buildings. That's an alarming thing.
Yeah. I had a player that was on the 2025 roster reach out after this and just emphasize the importance of Bregman, saying I don't think that the average fan has a total understanding of how important he was to last year's team. We won games because of him and his preparation and player coaching, even when he was injured. To be we won games because of this guy, even when he wasn't on the field. We could attribute wins to him. That's why, going back to the main point that I had earlier, sure, have your model, but it's establishing a baseline. It's not the end all be all. It never should be. You have to operate with feel. A model is not going to tell you yeah, man, I understand the defense, the base running, the offense. We can factor in the age, the injuries, but a model is never going to be able to tell you hey, when he was injured, he did X, Y, and Z, and that led to a victory because of this circumstance in August like we won a game specifically because he did this, or, you know, what value did he bring to a guy like Roman Anthony, and, you know, stuff like you can't account for that. So yeah, I don't know. It's you're losing out because like I saw like people being like, we lost out because we didn't want to give him an extra $3 million on an average annual value basis. Is it fair to say they lost out because of the no trade clause and some like deferrals? Like if they had just given him a signing bonus and straight up without deferring any of that money and gave him a no trade clause, does he take 160 from the Red Sox over the 175 from the Cubs?
I think it would depend on what the deferrals are, because that's the present day value. But like, say their present day value is 140, like I feel like that would probably mean he would be coming back if the Cubs were at 150 and you gave him that no trade clause. But probably both factors coming in was enough for him to be like, yeah, I'm all right, I'm good. Because you want to talk about winning opportunities, and like, you know, going to Chicago is not a great fit for him as a player. Like his swing and like how he's going to age and how he pulls the baseball, Wrigley is not a great fit. And you're talking about a guy who does care about winning, but also cares about legacy in his career. You know, there is a better pathway at Fenway, in my opinion, for you to sustain yourself as a baseball player and put up those numbers. I would just wonder, did he come back to the Red Sox and say, like, this is what I have? Are you willing to change what you have offered? Or did he have Boris go there and be like, you know, tell him what the number is, and if they think we're bluffing, then they think we're bluffing, and we're going to tell them 10 minutes later I signed with the Chicago Cubs.
I have reason to believe that I think Bregman tried to make it work with the Red Sox.
That's even worse.
Yeah. I think he tried to make it work with the Red Sox, and they didn't exactly try to make it work with him when I'd like to think they were aware that, like, hey, this is final offer time. This isn't, you know, negotiating at the 65 to 75% part of this process. I think that they were pretty aware this is your last shot. It's about like, I'm about to make my decision. Is there any way that we can, you know, compromise here? And I don't think the Red Sox did, because he's a Cub. Really quickly, Underdog Fantasy is the easiest place to play fantasy sports. Tonight, Patriots, what was your prediction, T?
Pats are winning. Dominating. Okay. Justin Herbert, that offensive line, they're getting bulldozed.
Hell yeah. Make sure you sign up with the promo code Jared. That's Jared to get up to $1,000 in bonus cash and a special pick on Underdog. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code Jared.
Do you think there was another team with a higher bid than the Red Sox?
I would be shocked if like I don't even know if, like, you know, for all the interest that we heard on the Blue Jays side and the D-backs side, I think what the D-backs probably did was, I think that they gave him a buffet of creative offers, and that was never. They were also
playing you on the Marte market as well. I think they were trying to see, like, are the Red Sox going to panic here and give us Early and Meyer, and then we pay Bregman and it all works? The Red Sox weren't willing to get that aggressive or bite. You know, the way Mike Hazen was speaking, who knows? Maybe the Red Sox put that offer on the table and changes it. It would be a horrendous look for Hazen. You never know. But I think the D-backs were playing both sides there, where they're like, hey, hopefully the Red Sox just make this deal because they think Bregman's coming here. And we heard in mid-December, when you put that out, there were people at Fenway clenching their ass. People were fucking sweating that out. And I think Hazen was probably looking at it and hoping, like, man, if they panic here, we might have a home run scenario. But if it's plan B and Marte's still here, we're still, you know, going to be just about, you know, where we hope to be this year. Maybe not the A-level offseason, but it's still a good offseason for them.
I don't think that at this point, the D-backs can't afford to come away with neither player. So I don't see Marte going anywhere now that Bregman's off the board and it's not to Arizona. But I don't know. I think it's obviously a kick in the balls that he's going to Chicago, but what is even more just discouraging now is it's Sean McAdam wrote the piece about it, that like the trust that the fans were starting to regain here, it's all gone now. You know, when you sign Bregman to the deal last winter and you trade for Garrett Crochet and you give him the extension, it's like, oh, all right, we're operating in like we're going for it big market way. Like, that's great. And then this winter comes around and you you talk a big game about this number 2, and then you bring in Sonny Gray on a 1-year deal, who's like, 36 years old. Like, that's your number 2. Be happy about it. You don't do anything in the Pete Alonso sweepstakes, and you trade for Wilson Contreras, who, like, yeah, good player. I'm excited. But, like, these are not, I think what we probably expected was an offseason of adding pieces that were going to be part of, like, a championship core. And they added good players like Sonny Gray, good pitcher, Wilson Contreras, good player, but these are band-aids. These are not like long-term pieces that are going to supplement the Campbells and the Myers and the Roman Anthonys of the world. Like they're here to be a stopgap. And I think fans are tired of stopgap solutions, especially at first base and second base. Like we've been going over that for 6-7 years now. 6-7. I think it's tiring now. It's exhausting to keep putting lipstick on a pig per se. But Bregman was supposed to be different. Like that was supposed to be the guy where it's like he wants to be here. He was culture changing. He was talking about winning championships here. Like he has championship pedigree, and now he's going to be our next Adrian Beltre, where it's like you were here for 1 year. It was a pillow contract, and now you're off. You're going to play more, like 5 more seasons somewhere else. And who knows? Maybe he goes into the Hall of Fame as a Cub. We don't know. Coley?
Beltre, this was much worse than Beltre because like the Beltre thing didn't cause like a wake of destruction.
It kind of did though.
How?
Because it moved Youkilis
to first.
Well, once he left, Youkilis moved to third so that
that was Adrian Gonzalez's fault. That wasn't. Will
Middlebrooks killed Uke.
There was a ripple effect.
Sure, but if they had that was their own greed. If they had just kept Beltre and Uke at first, I think Uke body doesn't go to shit.
Sure, but if they just kept Beltre, then Uke stays at first. You never make the Adrian Gonzalez trade, and then you end up with Anthony Rizzo as your first baseman after Youkilis is gone.
No doubt. Like probably. But the larger point is, I don't know why you thought, or anyone, not you, anyone would have thought things had changed because of the championship pedigree of Alex Bregman. That like all the guys they've gotten rid of had that, and they did it here. He didn't do that here. He was an outsider. Xander, Mookie, Devers were all that here and all wanted to be here. They've been on the record 1,000 times being like, I wanted to be here and win more. So I don't know why this would be different.
Yeah. I don't know.
I think with Bregman, you tried to look at it as like, all right, under this regime, it's still under the same ownership, but with Craig Breslow in the window opening, clearly there was a change from Craig Breslow because we know Jen McCaffrey told us in the reporting last offseason, it was 4 years. They were not willing to go more than 4 years last offseason. So now you were at a point in time where you're willing to go 5 years a year later. So you made it obvious that you were willing to bend your model or whatever your parameters were, or whatever you thought of the player. So to bend your models and what you thought of that guy and not land him, to look at the moves earlier this offseason, if you were going to stop and you had, lines to this, why not be more aggressive on Pete Alonso? Why not make an offer to Kyle Schwarber? Because these other teams in the Orioles and Phillies who were acting with urgency, they knew, hey, yeah, maybe the last years of these deals aren't going to be great, but we're trying to get this done because we have a direct motive of what this year needs to be. The Phillies know. This is, this stretch here, like these guys, all those contracts, they're on the wrong side of things. They need to win now. The Orioles, Mike Elias knows he's going to lose the job if he didn't start winning this year and the Orioles turned it around. With Craig Breslow, it was like, all right, you made the wild card round. Now's your chance where you're talking this big game of like, the dial is now, we're turned to the future. This is time to go. We need a co-ace. We need a power hitter. And seemingly all that talk has just not been reflected in a lot of their actions.
No. And to everyone that in the wake of this signing has been like, what does this mean that we're in on Bo Bichette now? What the fuck makes you think they're going to pay Bo Bichette? Like, if I'm Bo Bichette, I'm like, this is awesome because he probably wants to go to Philly and now he can use the Red Sox as leverage and be like, yeah, like they're desperate. They need to sign somebody.
Both are.
What are they going to do? Sign Cody Bellinger? Like, that doesn't make any fucking sense. So, like, I'm the only guy left. So now I can use them as leverage and get more money from the Phillies and then go there. And then the Red Sox have nothing.
This is a deal that at the time people would have been really pissed at. And now looking backwards, it's like, all right, that would actually help tremendously in the moment. The Mets just went and got Marcus Semien for an outfielder. And they made pretty much the same amount of money to you. Am I right? AAV wise, they're about the same. Couple more for Semien, but roughly the same.
Slightly different, but roughly.
If we had put Durant on the table, not only are they paying Semien way down, but we're probably getting more in terms of prospects. They were clearly looking for that kind of an outfielder, and we still have this logjam. And then you'd at least have a right-handed hitting second baseman. You could play Meyer at third. You're doing the entire offseason from a different point of view and from a position of power, as opposed to like, man, we don't have a second or a third baseman. Really? We can put people there. We don't want them there every day, or it's not their best position. That's something where it was just like, I don't understand the conversations that if you're not going to hire a GM and you're doing all this, you're going to the GM meetings, you're going to the winter meetings, like, you're not having the right conversations then, because the second baseman was out there to be had.
I think the hard thing with Semien, and it's 4 years remaining, 26, or excuse me, 3 years remaining, 26 this upcoming year, 26 after that, and 20 after that. So you're talking 52, 72. What is that, like 24 million over 3 years? With Semien, it just doesn't check off the box of the bat. Like you need the bat. And I think that's the conversation we're having here. It's like, you need another legit bat to say your offense is better than where last year ended. Even if you just take Contreras and you plug him in, right into that Alex Bregman role and expect similar-esque production, maybe a little bit better. But, Marcus Semien at this point is a below league average bat. And that's where it's like,
year. I'm always hesitant to say at this point. Last year he was. These guys
the last couple years, he's been league average.
2 years ago, didn't he set the record for most at bats in a season?
Here 103 OPS plus in 24, 97 and 25. At age 35, I don't expect him to jump back to 32. And sometimes there's a George Springer in the world, right? That wakes up and he has it for a year.
That Texas team was dead all year. Like from any way they talked, it was like, yeah, we don't want to be here at all. So I wouldn't be shocked if he was good for the Mets. And his defense is still above average. So that's why the Mets targeted him, which up the middle, like right now, our opening day second baseman is Romy Gonzalez or Cedar Rafaela, which we all should have known this was going to happen. The second core was like, that's my center fielder. The second he said that, it's like, well,
he doubled down yesterday. Doubled down and said, we're good.
He might be opening a shortstop depending on how things go here. So yeah, I don't know. As I look at the rest of the options, I said one last episode, everyone got fucking mad, but the Jazz Chisholm is like right now the best option available, especially if Ketel Marte has really been pulled off the market.
Well, it doesn't sound like they're going to be able to move him if, the Yankees right now are pretending they're done with Cody Bellinger and they're looking at different avenues or whatever, pulling Jazz Chisholm out of that. I do wonder, I think the Durant and the Mets angle is something that is still out there as they kind of search for an outfielder, and, maybe you can get a little creative on that front. But right now, pulling Durant from the lineup is just not something you can really ponder until you find a way to bring another legit bat in that you feel that good about. And the way they talked yesterday, a lot about rotating those outfielders through that DH spot. Almost nothing. I don't think Masataka Yoshida's name was said yesterday by anyone. So like, you have that logjam there, but until you're able to bring another bat in, it's hard to really have conversations about, what you're going to do with Jarren Durant, because right now you kind of need that bat.
Yes and no. It's like you need a functioning team, which they right now don't really have. They could put one out there that would be fine sometimes, but on a game-to-game basis, no, they don't.
It just depends on what you do with Yoshida. But at the same point, then you're killing any angle where Tristan Casas can come up and, maybe raise the ceiling of your team. And, I know some people don't want to hear it.
Their two ceiling raisers right now are Casas and Campbell, and they've effectively blocked both of them, which, again, I'm not upset about the Contreras deal. That was a fine deal to make. Campbell, they had him in Puerto Rico playing just DH and outfield, right?
Yeah, left field. That's all.
So that's where it's like, all right, I understand how bad it went last year, no doubt. Mike Hazen, who's our director of the minors, Brian Abraham. Brian Abraham, this offseason was like, we still grade him as a plus at second base. So, all right. Well, so play him there. Play him there all spring. Pick a position for him, because right now you're causing more problems than solutions by having him as an outfielder.
Well, that's why the Matt Shaw thing, too. Like, if you were to go that route, wouldn't you just give your own top prospect that kind of had a rough first year the runway to do something like that? And maybe that reflects more on how they actually feel and what their concerns are, or that they think he needs to go down to the minors and build up or do whatever it may need to be. But the way they were talking a month ago was like, juiced, swings back. It's like 2025 never happened. So which one is it? And if you're not confident, and all reporting is they're going to continue to look for a bat, it's just, you look at the options out there. I don't know how, like, Bo Bichette in a vacuum makes a ton of sense. I just have no confidence, like you guys, that they're going to pay him. Eugenio Suarez, like, you're adding a guy who, yes, you're going to get homers. He struck out 30% of the time, and he was horrendous at third base last year. You go get Nico Horner, who has 1 year at $12 million remaining. He was a league average bat before this past season. And, like, I like Nico Horner, insanely good defensively, will steal you 25 to 30 bags. Is that the bat that, like, you feel great about? And do you really want to trade more assets? This was the thing about Bregman. There was no QO you had to worry about anymore. You already lost that pick when you signed him a year ago for 1 year. Bo Bichette has a QO. So that's a second rounder, a fifth rounder, and $1 million in international bonus money. But you would be trading for Nico Horner for 1 year, or a package for a guy, Matt Shaw, who, we know you liked previously, but, fits into that Christian Campbell mold. Like, Ketel Marte is going to require Meyer in an early, maybe, and you'd have to make Hazen flip everything he said in the last week. And then you have, like, Asok Paredes. Like, I like Paredes, but we know they wanted Connolly early, and that was the start of the convo, and it's another guy who's not a good defender at third. Good bat, would fit here as a bat, but not a good defender at third, and Contreras will play first.
I just think it's, like, so depressing that there's zero confidence that the Red Sox will pivot to a Bo Bichette, or even like Coley was saying, like Kyle Tucker. Yeah, well, they'll swing for the fences and get the best player on the market. And it's like, well, no,
I didn't say that. I said that's what I've
Coley's
been told.
Tweet yesterday.
No.
Can you expand on that, Coley?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, like, 20 years ago, that would have been Plan A. It would have been let's bring back Bregman. It would have been in the it would have been like a footnote. Like, him
and Alonso would have been
Alex Bregman, but they signed Kyle Tucker too. Now it's just, you're out there fighting for your life, and I don't understand. Like, I feel like I'm pretty critical of how this has been handled. I'm getting blamed for this. Like, I did it. It's crazy. Like, I have people that don't even follow baseball that are reaching out being like, why are people so mad at you? I'm like, I don't fucking know, dude. I don't know. Like, they think I'm like just because I have like a fucking side gig at Nesson, that I'm some sort of like John Henry ass kisser. Why can't I be angry at the team for not getting this deal done, and also can I work? Can I have a job? Am I allowed to, like, is it okay if I make some money for myself? Like, Jesus fucking Christ, these people are insane. Like, no, I wanted Alex Bregman on the team. Yes, I think it's fucking bullshit that they didn't pony up I think it's embarrassing that they thought they put a Godfather offer on the table. That's what I think. Like, that's number one. The fact that they were like, boom, here it is, everything you've ever wanted. And it's like, well, no, like, that's not even like close to what I wanted. Like, I wanted no opt-outs. I wanted a no trade clause. I didn't want the deferrals the way that they're presented. Like, it just, I don't know. It's very alarming. And that's what I've been tweeting this since last night. I've been fucking criticizing the team, how this was handled since it fucking happened. I don't know what I have to do to like do I have to fight John Henry in a cage? Like, will people get off my ass then about, oh, you won't say anything about ownership and you got to call them out? We're a fucking podcast, dude. We're just a podcast. No, there's no words that I could put together and say on this show that is going to make a difference in the long run of how the team is run. It's not going to change Craig Breslau's mind. It's not going to motivate John Henry to spend any more money. It's exhausting. I'm exhausted by this fan base. And I get it. Like, you're mad, but so am I. I fucking care more than you. I know that for a fact. Like, everyone that's like fucking up in arms on Twitter, all you can do is match me. You cannot surpass how much I care about this fucking team. You can't. So when you're mad, know that I'm as mad as you are or angrier. That's it.
This is a day after Jared for like 5 hours at Fenway Fest. Every single person walked up to him and was like, tell me, what do you have? Every single person, like as the middleman, like, you know, like you're pulling the strings here one way or the other. But yeah, I think just at this point in the offseason for them, it's hard to see even a B offseason in a lot of ways. And, you know, even Brendan Donovan, another name. Cora said yesterday, right-handed. We're already too left-handed. He's told you they need a right-handed bat. So, like, I'm not going to fall too far down to the Brendan Donovan conversation either. It feels very hard unless they were to throw money at Bichette that people are going to be even satisfied, never mind, ready to run through a fucking wall.
And if they're going to trade one of these outfielders, like, I would do it before Bellinger and Tucker picked homes. Like, you're eliminating places that would trade for it the longer you wait. I understand the other side of it if there's one team left without, but what if that team sucks and has nothing you want? Like, do it from a position of strength, not hope the right team is there at the end with a chair no one to sit in it.
I just think Craig Breslow is going to need to realize, like, maybe doing something that slightly goes against the models is not going to work in free agency. Like, that's just not what modern day free agency is. And like, if you think like, oh, hey, you know, I gave you maybe 10% more what I thought you should get compared to, you know, what my numbers say. Good luck, man. Good luck. You're going to end up in the same spot over and over again. And if being in this kind of competitive window doesn't push you, it's scary because you never know what fucking will. And that's why the Andrew Friedman quote, if you're always rational about every free agent, you will finish third on every free agent. That's where Craig Breslow is going to live until he's willing to get that uncomfortable beyond a 3-year deal where you have an opt-out after every year. Hey, $40 million, we say it all the time. No such thing as a bad 1-year deal. This Alex Bregman contract is making a run for its money about the impact it had on your entire, you know, organization. But still, you go back and it's all I can think about today. If you had just played the timeline in your head, if Devers at third, Bregman at second, maybe it doesn't matter and Devers was always going to get moved because of how Breslow felt. I just wish we could picture it because as we heard, Breslow became enamored with Christian Campbell because of the models over that offseason. If that just doesn't grab him and fucking squeeze him and shake him as hard as it did, where are we today? And if it ends up being the same way, that points the finger at John Henry and Craig Breslow that the wrong people are running this organization.
I said it when they traded Devers, like the amount of hubris that comes out of this front office is crazy to me. The fact that they're just like, we're always right no matter what. And there's really nothing they can point to back that up. That's what I can't stand. Like, have your model, of course. Look forward, of course. But like, I don't know, have some feel for the moment. And I'm not that upset about losing out on the player. I'm more upset that they are losers. Inherent
and that you
losers.
Waited. Like, didn't we say the worst case scenario was you let this drag out all off season and then you get to the point where there was like 1 or 2 options or no options and then you were like, fuck, we have no leverage. If the Red Sox call you right now and they're like, hey, we're looking to make a deal. You're like, we're about to bend you over fucking backwards and give you 15 back shots. Like, that's what the reality is going to be. Because what are your options? We know you're not going to pay Bo Bichette. We know you're not confident in doing that. So why are we going to sit here and fucking, you know, nickel and dime until the point where, you know, we're not getting what we want? You're just not in a great spot in terms of leverage. And that's where you look at a young CBO continuing to get this. And this is what, a third offseason now. You can only get along with the young CBO thing for so long before you're kind of just in over your head. And I think that's what it feels like for a lot of people right now. And, you know, there's ways to fix it. It's just not ways they're seemingly willing to do in the last half decade.
I'm really aggravated. I'm so aggravated right now.
Are you going to be...
Because it was simple.
Are you going to be happier or angrier when you see the Jazz Chisholm tweet?
That's not happening.
John Morosi has it in his drafts right now. Right now.
It's not happening.
T outlined it already. Like, he can only trade with people he's already traded with. Otherwise, someone else has to step in.
What do you think?
Completed a
do you
deal.
think? What do you think the highest percentage chance of like an event to unfold? Do you think it's that they roll into the season as is, like that? Like this is it. This is the team now. You don't think so?
What do you like? Are you counting like relievers and that because of
No,
like,
position players. Like the
position
lineup.
players.
Is this is the opening day lineup going to consist of players that are currently in the organization right now?
Yeah. I think it's the highest percentage chance. Yeah. I mean, I've been saying that for weeks now, so I'm not going to switch up now.
Tyler?
No, I think they'll bring in an addition. I would hate for it to be Eugenio Suarez, but they've been interested. It was lukewarm, but now it's like, what are your remaining options? Like, I just hate that that's the name we've seen them linked to. I can't believe they're looking at where they're at right now and they're super comfortable trading, significant prospects.
You don't fucking have any left. And like
you're 14th right now as a system according to Baseball America.
Here's the irony of all this, right? So you fucking brought in Alex Bregman because you were sick of Rafael Devers' defense at third base. And so then you bring in Bregman, then you lose both of them within a year and then replace the two of them at third base with Eugenio Suarez, who is arguably worse than Devers defensively at third base?
Probably, yeah.
The same at this point in time.
At least he's still playing third base. Fucking Devers is over at first base for the Giants.
Well, that's because they had Chapman already.
Sure. But like, yeah, at the end of the day, it's such a bad look. It's such a bad look for the organization to going back to last spring and how they handled the Devers shit. And I get it. You didn't like the player. That's what I said. That was my first tweet after the trade. Tell me you don't like the contract. Tell me you don't like the defense at third base. But you can't tell me that you couldn't have handled this in a situation to where you could still have Devers and Bregman right now. Like it was in your control. That wasn't like an unforeseen circumstance or an incident occurred that was out of your control or something that you couldn't have prevented. All of this was in the team's control, and the worst possible outcome is the one that we got. I don't know how it could have gone worse, unless of course, like right after the Devers trade, like Bregman fucking tore his quad and was out for the rest of the year. That's the only way it could have been worse. But I mean, he still did get hurt.
If he did that,
huh?
He would have opted in if he tore his quad and didn't play again.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, sure. Yeah. So then it was the worst possible outcome. Yeah.
Yes.
It was the worst.
It could not have
outcome.
gone worse.
Yeah.
It's like shitting in your pants and choosing to wear those pants over and over again. All you had to do was change the pants. Pay Alex Bregman, and a lot of people would have moved on from the Devers thing, and they would have bought your propaganda that you fucking spewed out, and you got people to believe he was a cancer. And they would have been like, you know what? Bregman's here. You don't have to think twice about it. Now with Bregman gone, I think even the people that were like, oh, Devers left in the power of friendship changed us as a baseball team. Not having the #1 ERA in baseball from when you got hot starting right before you trade Rafael Devers. No, the power of friendship. That changed everything. And I think the biggest losers in all of this and the most fucked up thing is we heard last year about wanting to put these young guys in the best positions to succeed. You want to take the pressure off their shoulders. Roman Anthony, you have to be an MVP candidate at 22. There's no step back. Hey, I know sometimes you hit the ball into the ground, you struggle to lift the ball for certain stretches. Too bad. You better be one of the best bats in the entire sport. Marcelo Meyer, you've never played fucking more than 91 games in a year. Guess what? Show up, because we're going to need you out there and lean on you very heavily. And that's where the leadership void starts to come into question, because I like Trevor's story. I think he's a leader. He's more of a quiet guy. That's been noted. He's not as vocal as a Bregman, and credit to Story. He does Camp Story, all this different shit. It's cool. You took Ref Snyder out. You took Bregman out. You're putting a lot on that guy who's played one healthy season to kind of just be this figure for everyone. And maybe Roman Anthony at 22 can be this leader. I love Garrett Crochet. I think he's a leader. I think starting pitcher leadership only goes so far. So once again, you're just putting more and more on these young guys when you said you wanted to set them up for success. Guess what? Having the big brother and Alex Bregman to wear a lot of that and kind of be this consistent bat as a #3 hitter on your team, he just checked off so many fucking boxes for you while playing good defense. And if the worst case was a year or two of him being an average ball player, because I think his profile will age well, you can live with that. You should be able to live with that because you weren't going to have to give up a second and a fifth round pick because of what led to all this coming here, because of what you already invested in the player. All those things should have came together enough for you to be willing to get close to that Cubs offer, at least to the point where he would have said, yes, I'm coming back.
I can't believe it. So now what? It's really going to be Eugenio Suarez, right? Like that's.
I think they're going to, honestly, I think they'll probably be talking and seeing what these deals are. And maybe, like, think about it. When we talked about Paredes, we were like, they'll knock it down to Hunter Dobbins. There's no Hunter Dobbins to flip in that trade anymore. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of people put Paredes and Contreras and were like, all right, like same tier, you pick one of those guys, whatever, you used him in that trade. It's like, well, no, now you need to fill that Bregman Avenue. And there's one guy in free agency who's on the same tier. And then it's Suarez who, 35 years old, you're going to hope can play good defense. And right. I know he made like stance changes when he got to Seattle and all this shit. It's just, do you need a guy who's also going to strike out 30% of the time when you were top 10 in K percentage? And Wilson Contreras strikes out too at like a 25% clip.
I see so clearly the Yankees trading for Freddie Peralta and wanting to replace what they give up with Jazz Chisholm. I see that so clearly in my mind's eye right now.
Wait, what?
I see the Yankees taking. I've already seen Yankee fans be like, "Wow, who do we trade? Elmer Rodriguez Cruz would be heading to which would drive me up a fucking wall."
Milwaukee. They just turn him into a freak.
And something else, and then them being like, "Well, what about this David Samlin? Can we do it again?" And someone else, and then sending Jazz this way. It's like I said it last week. Craig loves a guy who's about to be expiring, and no one's more expiring after this year than the 40-40 man, Jazz Chisholm. And you can play him genuinely at second or third.
Imagine, like, just...
He'd probably not be willing to come simply because of Cutter is king. Like, whatever, he might retire. He might actually retire.
I think Cutter would retire. I think they'd both probably retire.
They would combust.
Oh, God.
Fuck.
I'm all for it.
I don't know what is going on in my brain right now. I think it's still just disbelief, or maybe I think the worst, the even worse reality I think could possibly be that I'm just becoming used to the Red Sox fucking up. Like after winning 4 World Series titles and watching that 2018 season where they just steamrolled everyone, and following that up the next season where they just, backed up the Brinks truck to extend Chris Sale. That was kind of the end of my joy, because like that was a few months before they traded Mookie Betts. And then we just know how it's gone ever since then. Like 2021 was a breath of fresh air. We came up for air that year. I don't even really count this past year. It's like, yeah, like you made it to the fucking wild card round. You won 1 game and then embarrass yourself in Yankee Stadium. Like that was not like a run. Like you got there, but like that's about it. So is that it? Like, I'm upset. I'm angry. I'm frustrated, but it's not the pain that I thought I was gonna. Maybe it's because deep down I knew he wasn't coming back based on like the lack of communication over the offseason. It was just like weird vibes surrounding it. So, like I feel like I just like didn't want to admit to myself that he wasn't coming back, but I guess like the underlying details were there, and paired with the history of how this organization has behaved since the end of 2019, it shouldn't come as a surprise that they fucked this up. They went from the class of Major League Baseball, like the most World Series titles this century, to kind of a little bit of a joke. Like not always, like they have a core that first they had like the, number 1 farm system in baseball, but now they're establishing a young core that a lot of fan bases are envious of. So it's not all bad, but as far as like the big major decision-making incidents, I don't know how many they've come out on top of, like the Garrett Crochet thing. And And I guess I don't even know if you can count the Bregman signing because it was such like the
worst signing I've ever seen.
Yeah,
it is really going to be the example of like a 1-year contract that could actually fuck you.
Like, here's what not to do if you're going to sign a player. And people will reference the Alex Bregman 1-year deal with the Boston Red Sox. Like, here's how to fucking torpedo your own organization in quick fashion and be out $40 million at the same time.
And like the context of it too, right? Like Sonny Gray, Wilson Contreras, we've talked about these deals and we like, I think bare minimum, we've considered them like solid deals. I think some of us have been slightly higher or whatever. Like, you know, to be a fringe wildcard team at this point in time, yeah, it doesn't mean you're a bad baseball team. You're like, you're not going to be able to survive without Alex Bregman. But it's the idea of what this window is supposed to represent. It's supposed to be a time when you were going and pushing those chips in and being aggressive, and maybe never to the point of 2018 and 2019 Red Sox, but to a level where it's like, all right, we realize what we took away from fans, during this 2020 to 25 era. Can we push it into another gear? We're going to talk like we're going to push it into another gear. And then you look around and you realize, fuck, man, like the Blue Jays, if they sign Kyle Tucker, can you imagine what Red Sox Twitter will be like? Like, genuinely, it's going to be as bad as today was, and it will be insanity, and they'll be spending 330, 340. We're talking now, that's $100 million.
I don't feel
between
that
where
way.
you are, 244.
I don't feel that way because I've been.
Are you prepared for it like more?
Yeah, like I've been saying this for a long time. Like the Blue Jays are fucking loaded financially. They just never behaved that way until very recently.
They tried
to. They tried to, but even that is all recently. Like I was talking about this when Garrett Cole was a free agent. I was like, has anyone ever looked up what like the Rogers are worth? You know, so like now that they have like Vladdy and Bo and fucking whoever, Kevin Biggio at the time, it's like why aren't they like Nate? Was it Nate Pearson? Yeah. Why aren't they going after Garrett Cole? Like now is the time to add that fuck you ace to supplement their young core. So the fact that they're behaving like this doesn't make me be like, why aren't the Red Sox doing it too? They're already gone. Like if they end up signing Kyle Tucker, that doesn't put them over the top where it's like, oh my God, they're so far away from us. Like they're already behaving that way. They gave $500 million to Vladdy. Like part of me like that. We haven't even mentioned that yet. But
wait, that contract's not underwater, but Rafael Devers is. Like that is my favorite thing in the world.
That's like a big part of this story. Is I think the Red Sox underestimated the Blue Jays' desire or ability to spend, and I think Vladdy Jr. was a part of their future plans where they were like, we can afford to make all these moves and decisions because we're just going to add Vladdy. He loves it here. He loves the Sox. So yeah, it's just been a lot of missing the mark, misreading the human element of every conversation. Yeah. I don't know, man.
Well, it's that, and it's like the Orioles like spending more. Now, are they going to go out and get one of these pitchers? Or do they go get Ranger Suarez? And you're like, the AL East is significantly tougher. You know, the Yankees and Cody Bellinger, did they figure it out? But, you know, they're still spending more than you, and they beat you last year. It's like, how different does the optics of this window change for the fans who looked at it and said, man, the next 5 or 6 years, they're fucking ours. Right now, it's like, I don't know. I don't know what it is in the way the Red Sox are behaving. They're making it clear, like, we'll be in it, but we're definitely not going to fucking push it into a gear that, you know, makes all the Red Sox fans like, holy shit, we're going all in and doing everything we can.
They're not all in. Like, the Red Sox are not all in. They're not, you know? And I don't know that they, like, for example, so if you were, I think Jay Hay tweeted the stat head of Bo versus Bregman, and comparatively, like I think if you were to bring in a Bo Bichette, he's kind of like neck and neck with Bregman statistically, at least from like an offensive perspective. He's not better defensively. We know that because he's going to get moved over to second base wherever he signs. But then you're also lacking that leadership. He's just a different kind of player. Like, does he make your team better? Yes, instantly makes your team better. Excellent hitter. One of the better pure hitters in baseball. But he's not a good defender. And he's not the leader that Bregman is. So, like, let's say we do get the breaking news pass and tweet tomorrow. Red Sox signed Bo Bichette. do you think people are going to be like, fuck yeah? Or it's going to be like, oh, okay. All right.
Oh, yeah. If you gave 8 years to Bichette, I think everyone would be like, they'd forget about Bregman tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think the moment
Okay.
the notification comes out, I would be that excited. I have no hope at all on this. And I tend to be optimistic. I just can't find any hope for this.
No, it'd be insane to be after. I mean, people like would you agree the majority of people went into this offseason being like, they're going to get Joe Ryan, Pete Alonso, and bring back Bregman? Like most people.
I would have said 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
I would have said 2 out of 3. Most people thought. Yeah.
Yeah. And they, not only did they get none of them, they weren't particularly close on at least 2 of them. Depends who you ask with the Bregman one, if they were close or not.
Well, Schwarber is the other name because they kept talking about how much they love Schwarber and want to bring him back too. And they didn't even make him an offer.
And that's the problem. If you're going to sit here and draw the line this close, you better be fucking talking to everyone and trying to figure out where you can find this market efficiency or get a deal done. But you're not. You slow played it like you thought Alex Bregman was always in your back pocket. And it turns out he wasn't. And that's where, like, you know, there will be parallels to Bogarts in certain ways. And it's obviously not the same kind of contract. It's not 11 years. But when you talk leadership, what it felt like he meant to the team, even it kind of breaking that late at night, people waking up to it. I don't know. It's just, I feel like, was everyone awake?
This was like 7.
No, all right, chill. It was, so I tweeted out, and this was the worst thing. I had a great text from Andrew Parker when I woke up this morning.
It was later than I remembered. It was 10:30.
Yeah. So at 10:18 last night, I tweet out the Tayron Guerrero minor league signing. I go, Martha, I'm going to bed. I'm like, I'm going to lay down. I'm gassed. We did Fenway today. And I just put it on the bedside and I fade off into dreamland. And at 1:30 in the morning, I like turn over and she goes, Tyler, Alex Bregman signed it. And I go, and I'm like, oh no, I like missed it. I just assumed he was with the Red Sox. She goes, oh no, it's not with the Red Sox. It's with Chicago. And I'm like, I was almost mad. She told me I never went back to sleep. I couldn't sleep. And I wasn't going to start tweeting at 2 a.m. like a fucking madman. I was like, maybe. I was like, let me take a minute here and digest. And she was pissed because she had work today. And I'm just tossing, like, I can't sleep. I'm reading the articles. I'm reading the tweets. I'm reading the group chat with you guys. And I'm just kind of like, Martha fucked me over, waking me up. It was probably better to just let me sleep. But to sit there all night by myself and like cope, like I was just sitting on the side of the bed like I had lost everything in my life. It was a rough scene.
Yeah.
Very funny.
Yeah. I mean, it was a rough night. It was a rough night. Like after it happened, I don't think I verbally said a word for like another hour and a half. I was just scrolling, reading, you know, like I was trying to like keep up with everyone's reactions to it, but then also processing all the hatred that I was getting for, I don't know. I'm not sure, like just being alive, I guess. And I didn't say a word for an hour and a half until Train was like, are you done ignoring me? And I was like, I'm not. I was like, I don't think you understand what just happened. I was like, this is a code red shitstorm. This is very bad. This is very bad what's going on right now. All right, we interrupt this depressing ass podcast to talk about the great folks at Blue Moon. Blue Moon was born in a ballpark at the Sandlot Brewery in Denver, Colorado. So it's no wonder why you crave it. Blue Moon's bold flavor, bright explosion of color, and iconic orange slice ritual guarantees a one-of-a-kind beer drinking experience year-round. And for those occasions that you want a lighter option, reach for Blue Moon Light at only 95 calories and 3.6 grams of carbs per 12-ounce serving. It's a refreshingly light alternative beer brewed with real tangerine peel. If you're looking for a great tasting non-alcoholic beer, you can try Blue Moon Non-Alcoholic, still made with real Valencia orange peel and coriander with just 80 calories. T, how many Blue Moons are we going to do for the Pats tonight?
However, I'll drink as many that allow me to forget about Alex Bregman as possible. That's what I'll be doing.
It's inspired by the beer you already love and available year-round. A wheat beer from Blue Moon, an exceptional taste and only 95 calories. Brightly brewed with real tangerine peel, tastes light and refreshing. Nothing compares to the great taste of a Blue Moon Light. Blue Moon made brighter. Get Blue Moon Light delivered by visiting get.bluemoonbeer.com/Jared for delivery options. That is get.bluemoonbeer.com/Jared. Blue Moon made brighter. Celebrate responsibly. Blue Moon Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Sock one.
Yeah, thank you. Also, let's talk about Mack Weldon for a second because they have upgraded my wardrobe in a big way. They give comfort every day. They don't let style be another reason. Mack Weldon's Ace collection T.
Shout out Ace. Lost
Shout out
his
Ace.
nuts.
Yep. Got him chopped.
Do you know where they are?
What?
Do you have them?
Mack Weldon's Ace collection makes it effortless to put together while feeling truly comfortable. Their new Ace line, inspired by their best-selling sweatpants, combines everyday comfort with long-lasting and confident looks. Upgrade your collection for the new year with their bomber jackets, which I do have. I have multiple half zips, sweats, crew necks, and more at MackWeldon.com. And you can get 20% off your first order of $125 or more with the promo code Section10. That's 10. The materials, super comfortable, especially the sweatpants. I live in those on the weekends, propping up on the couch, watching Netflix, what have you. Sweatpants are super comfortable. And then if you see me wearing a bomber jacket, just know that it's from Mack Weldon. Mack Weldon balances classic pieces with updated details to keep you looking sharp, not flashy, just classic. Always in style and made from the world's most comfortable performance materials. Easy to style and versatile looks that you don't have to think about. Mack Weldon is effortless by design. Crazy comfortable, but elevated sweatpants, shorts, sweatshirts, and even blazers, if you're lucky enough to grab one while they're in stock. Looks like a blazer, feels like a sweatshirt. Get lost in comfort with their half zips, pullover hoodies, bomber jackets, and crew necks. All new relaxed sweatpants, carpenter sweatpants, and classic sweatpants available in 5 new colors. Mack Weldon clothes are designed to fit your style and the demands of modern life. They look like regular clothes, but they feel like the latest in modern comfort. For over 10 years, Mack Weldon has designed timeless, innovative menswear to help you move through the day with confidence, even if you're just hanging in your underwear. Mack Weldon's Ace collection, comfortable anywhere. Go to MackWeldon.com and get 20% off your first order of $125 or more with the promo code Section10. That's SECTION 10. That's Mack Weldon, MackWeldon.com, promo code Section10. Back to the misery. And I don't know, man. I think at the end of the day, sure, like I understand from a baseball roster building perspective that adding Bo Bichette to the Boston Red Sox roster. Are you pointing up your finger to you? I can't see.
Yep.
What?
The final offer, according to Sean McAdam, was $165 guaranteed with significant deferrals, a deal worth $2 million less in average annual value.
So then, like, what was it about then? The deferrals and the no trade? Was that really it?
It can't be the deferrals. If the Cubs deferral number is correct.
70?
Yeah, 70 out of 175.
But with deferrals, that would knock down what the present day. So is it 140? Because we knew 160-ish, like John Heyman said, with and then there's
something's
deferrals.
not adding up here.
I mean, I don't believe anything the Red Sox say after the fact. Like I don't. T always likes to bring up the Yamamoto shit. I don't believe that for a second that they offered $300 million. Does anything about this organization lead you to believe they offered Yamamoto $300 million fucking dollars?
No, but they should.
That's what they do. They're a PR firm.
Yeah. So the way I interpret this report, that was the number before deferrals, just like 175. So what did it come down to?
Probably 130. I don't know that it's going to be drastically different. If you think it's going to be less than the Cubs, obviously, but it's not going to be tremendously more. Unless they're like 150, boom. 150 deferred.
Yeah.
We want you to be Shohei. You're on the books for $1 million a year.
I'm a little confused, if we're being honest.
Is this, I've been thinking about this all offseason, Jerry, talking about your Blue Jays. If Ohtani were a free agent this offseason, do you think he signs with the Blue Jays over the Dodgers?
No.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's that whole thing about like Japan being close to the coast in California. Like I think it's like a geographical thing. I think it's a weather thing.
There's no weather in Toronto.
I mean, you still have to live there.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. Yeah. I am, when it comes to the Red Sox, my neutral setting is positive. I have nothing positive to say. And I don't, no one wants that from me, obviously, right now. Like, people want to be angry and shit. But I would at least, for like, that's just, even in life, that's how my brain works. Like, something catastrophic happens and I just try to dump it and be like, how do we move forward? Like, let's not be stuck in this bad moment. Let's move forward and try to find reason to be optimistic or positive. And I am really struggling with that with the Red Sox right now, because I thought for sure, I was almost ready to guarantee it, the Red Sox will be a better team in 2026 than they were in 2025. After getting that little taste of postseason play with this group, that they would have been like, all right, let's attack the Bregman thing early. Let's not fuck around with that. Get that done so that now we can pivot to a Pete Alonso or a Kyle Schwarber or something. And then Alonso went, Schwarber went, and Bregman was still out there. It was everything that you should have done, you didn't. And I understand it takes two to tango, and that's not entirely up to them whether or not Bregman signed early. But if you were at 165 and the Cubs were at 175, you mean to tell me that you couldn't have just gotten that done early? Like, what? Like, why drag it out? I don't know, dude. I don't know. I don't have much. I don't have anything positive to say, because I'm even like annoyed that we talked about Bo Bichette, because like I don't think that's fucking like what's the point of wasting our breath talking about signing Bo Bichette when you're trying to fucking defer payments until 2097 for Alex Bregman. Like, I don't know. Is that real, by the way, that Bregman, that Bichette's looking for like 340 or 300, whatever it is?
300 was what John Heyman reported, but his reasoning was the shortstop class. He was talking about Bichette as a shortstop. To be fair, Bregman getting 5 years, 175, really 150 present day. Bichette's probably getting 250 million at this point. Yeah. Could he get up to 300? I wouldn't say it's impossible at this point. I didn't think it was very likely a couple days ago, but I also would have told you a couple days ago I didn't think Bregman was going to get 175.
I thought a team would go like 180 for Bregman. So I guess I'm not that shocked by the number. The 35, I know that's not what they're paying, but it is that was shocking to see.
When I saw breaking in Bregman, I was absolutely anticipating seeing that it was 6 years. Absolutely.
Right.
Because I think that's what he was waiting for. And when that didn't happen and you had a bunch of 5-year deals, I thought, even if it was for a little bit less, he's going to pick the Red Sox.
Yeah.
And
I'm not educated enough to know this, and I'm willing to say it. I just don't know how the way they structure the deferrals, what it means for present day. I don't, without knowing the exact details, like, I think it's hard to
Does
give
the
an
player
exact.
care about that though? Like, how relevant is that for the player if the money's the same in the end, regardless?
Well, if you don't like the way the structure is and when you're going to get your money, maybe you just want it
if it's like
at a different point in life.
What the Nationals were pitching Soto, I get that. That was never going to happen.
Just the way McAdam framed it in that article was that the structure was a problem for him. So, like, it's hard to know without knowing the exact details, but that and the no trade clause seem to be the two biggest things that you look at with what went wrong here.
Right. The only difference we know of is the no trade clause. Both offers were roughly the same monetarily and had heavy deferrals. So the no trade clause is the only thing right now we can see that was a differentiator. The other differentiator was he had already played here and seemingly glowed about playing here. So he cared more about the no trade clause than that.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Cole, you got to get out of here. You got any final thoughts?
Did you just get texted?
What?
Did you get a text?
It was like you got a source.
I said, Coley, you have to get out of here.
I know. I was what triggered that?
You texted me.
When?
Are you high, dude?
Oh, I
3 minutes ago.
Okay, well, I meant to text that to someone else, and you know I am. So I meant to send that to Mariah. I wasn't sending that to you.
I'm not your wife.
No, but you guys are on my favorites thing at the top.
But you could see how that could be meant for me, as in like I have to go.
Well, I
soon.
did send it directly to you, so I for sure understand how you thought it was for you, given the fact that.
But there's times where you like get a text. Actually, there's one time. there's times where you get a text message from one of your guy friends, and you're like, that definitely wasn't for me. But this could be for me.
Big time. I could understand that entirely. There was one time. That's my confusion.
I was in a bowling league with my boss from Sully's, who doesn't work there anymore. But we were in a bowling league together, and we were just like sitting next to each other. And he bowled, and he came back, and then I got a text message from him, and I looked at it, and it was like, "Just got a strike for you, baby." I was like, what the fuck? He's like, oh yeah, I meant to send that to the missus. I was like, you're bragging about getting a fucking strike at Candlepin Bowling in East Boston. You're like, yeah, baby, you fucking love that, don't you?
That just
out of all the alternatives, though, that is probably like a better case scenario. It's not like he's saying you meet or anything.
I read that and knew immediately that text message wasn't meant for me. Like this one that Coley just sent me, that could have been meant for me.
Yeah, I'll get the girls in a minute. Absolutely could have been like, I'm about to get out of here for sure.
Yep.
And I guess now I will. Excited for Jazz, as we all are as a nation. It's going to that's going to make people lose their minds if that happens. Obviously, I have no sources on that, but if that happens, that'd be very funny.
Leaning into this.
It's
who's
almost
available?
like you've heard something, Coley.
I haven't. Who's available?
Okay, I trust you.
We just went over it. Suarez.
Yeah, we've gone down the entire list of names.
There's no one available unless there's someone. Craig has made trades that came out of nowhere before. It's probably going to be Arenado. Which would you prefer?
I will die. I'm telling you, that would be it for me.
You talk about.
I take Suarez over Arenado.
Oh, we'll put Jazz in there. You would take Jazz over all these options for sure.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, he's the best option available. Unless Seager magically gets back on the table.
Yeah, Eugenio versus Arenado, man. It's like, at least Arenado can defend.
Your infield defense with Meyer at second and Arenado at third is unbelievable.
Yeah, but he can't hit.
No.
But obviously there's people in this front office that believe they can fix his swing if they were willing to bring him in a year ago. It's also dealing with his contract, which is...
It's dealing with if they make multiple more trades with the Cardinals, I'm going to lose my mind.
Arenado's making 27 and 26 and 15 and 27. I'd have to go back. I know last year I had it, but there's weird splits with the money getting paid by the Rockies. I think it's $5 million and 26.
Yeah.
Could you imagine after all that they go and get Nolan?
That'd be crazy.
Right-handed bat, plays the position you need.
Yeah.
35 years old.
Leader.
Big time. Him and Story back at it.
Mm-hmm. Why not?
It writes itself, T.
No.
Yep.
I won't let it happen.
It could.
Listen, it's on the table.
We shouldn't be here. We should not be here. That's just the reality. We should not be having conversations like this.
I agree, but we have to now. We have to accept reality. This is reality.
Last year it was
between Suarez and Arenado.
And you keep leaving out Jazz, and it's starting to annoy me.
Jazz just
starting to annoy me.
You're starting to.
Do you have anything to add on that Kyle Tucker thing, Coley? Like beyond what you tweeted?
People with that I know have sources like throughout the offseason be like, if they don't get Bregman, their pivot would be Tucker, not Bo. And the lack of smoke surrounding Tucker is, to me, smoke. Because that's how we have operated. Like
yes and no, though. Like I felt that way for a bit, and now it's like, well, we knew Wilson Contreras was a target, and then they traded.
Why
for him.
the fuck would they sign Kyle Tucker?
Because why did the Cubs just sign Alex Bregman?
But you would have even less leverage at that point when trying to move an outfielder, because people would just be like, dude, like,
yeah, you have 9
like, what are you doing?
outfielders.
Like, there's no way.
But one of the big outfielders is off the market, so in the same instance, you have more leverage.
Well, you got to make the move too, though.
Yeah, like what are you doing? Are you going to put Bregman at second base?
We don't have Bregman.
I mean, Duran. I don't know why I said Bregman. You're gonna put Duran.
That's
as
Twitter's.
No, that's the
That's
guy.
Twitter's favorite idea.
That's the
I
guy you
mean,
moved.
the dude played second base. I don't know why it's crazy.
I don't know. Picturing him fielding a ground ball or turning a
Just
double play sounds.
throwing it 1,000 miles an hour at someone in the fourth row.
When another player is around him, he reacts very poorly defensively. Like if Rafael is running towards him, he collapses mentally.
He almost killed poor Massa in his one inning in the field last year.
Like if Story's coming across the bag, they may just kill each other at that point in time. I don't know. Massa, if they were like, we're going to get Massa some reps at third base.
People would be so
Imagine
excited.
if they were just like, fuck it. Let him take a couple grounders out there. I don't know. Anything's possible at this point in time.
Yeah,
I don't know.
They've put themselves in quite a pickle. I think we can all agree. There are options. But the Tucker thing, like I let off the offseason and be like, if they're going to overspend on any of these people, I would do it with Tucker and Tucker only. Last offseason, I said, outside of Vladdy, I hate this free agent class. Like everyone tries to, oh, you weren't saying this year. Yes, I was. I've been out on this free agent class
on it
since last year. The second Vladdy signed, I put the fucking Snoopy on the roof getting rained on. Like that was a huge blow to everything I thought and hoped and prayed. They had no excuse not to be in on that. He just never hit free agency. Because the Blue Jays were like, what if we gave it all of it today? How would that work out for you? Would you like $500 million today? And he said, yeah, I would actually. I don't know. I think getting Tucker would be, to your point, Jerry, a confusing process. I don't like Bo. I do agree with T. If they sign tomorrow, it'd be like, okay, he's a second baseman. Myers a third. We're fine with that. He's younger than Bregman. People would sell themselves on that in 2 seconds. Tucker, people would be like, what? What are you talking about? But if they're going to stay consistent, like they were in on Soto last year, well, it doesn't like they had the same situation outfield wise last year,
but like,
and they were in on
like
Soto. Soto's better and younger, no doubt.
Soto's the guy that you just you make him fit. You know, like is Kyle Tucker the guy that you just make him fit?
But why not? He's the best free agent available.
I think it was a little.
He is,
I'm not saying it was, you know, wildly eye opening or anything like that, but I do think that there were some moments with him with the Cubs. Like a new organization, feeling him out for the first time, getting to know him. I think that there were, like, the honeymoon period ended rather quickly, I would say.
It was like
for
June,
a player
July.
That's immensely talented.
I'd also just wonder, like, their evaluation of these contracts. Like, Kyle Tucker's going to be 29. How do they look? How does Breslin look at a guy even that old? We used to be like, all right, 30's the line. Like, if we're talking with Tucker, and who knows, it may be a 5 or 6 year deal. I think no one's expecting him to get the 10-year, $400 million offer we were all talking about before. But like Juan Soto, it is still kind of jarring how young he is. Like, this was his age 26 season he just played. But in a vacuum, Coley, I agree. I think Kyle Tucker is the only elite player I considered on this free agent market. So I would have taken a run at him and tried to figure it out. I think they're too far down the line at this point.
Like the fact that he hasn't taken the Blue Jays offer, this is exactly how the Cubs just popped up and got Bregman. Obviously, Bregman wasn't sitting on that Cubs offer for 3 months. I think it was much like last year where the Red Sox popped up with 4-1-20 at the last second, and he was like, oh, okay, yeah, I will do that. I think the Red Sox did have the best offer on Bregman until the Cubs were like, what about 175? And he took it. That's what I like. I don't think we're going to sign Kyle Tucker. I want to make that super clear. But I don't think it's like a bad idea by any stretch of the imagination. We've talked about the other ideas. The other ideas are Nolan Arenado. Like, this is obviously a better idea than that, even if it's like Craig finally would have to trade 2 of his outfielders at that point.
At this point, I would turn down no pathways. So
but it's
I would
also
consider all.
I think part of the
especially
reason,
one for the best player on the free agent market.
Right. I think part of the reason the outfielders haven't been moved is because they've tried to upgrade the major league roster with those deals. They've tried to get a Ragans, they've tried to get a Marte, they've tried to get other established major league players. Whereas if all of a sudden you're getting another outfielder, you don't have to do that. You're trading for prospects. You can be like, all right, yeah, we will trade Duran for, I don't know, Jonah Tong. And so, like, I'm just making up names. I don't have, again, no sources.
The Entos, pick your fucking package.
Just something, guys who can be depth, guys who can replenish the farm system that you've just kind of stripped for good reasons and bad over the last 13 months, let's call it.
I do think too with Bellinger and Tucker out there, like when the two best outfield free agent options are still out there, like teams are going to be reluctant until that market starts to kind of cook itself to some degree. So
control the market even more.
But that goes back to the point once again, when you talk the game the way they did and to be urgent and to act on the things you want. When you play this waiting game, this is where you end up if it doesn't work out. Last year was the rare occasion where you played the waiting game and it all worked out. More often than not, there's a reason why we talk about it with JD. That is a rare occasion. That isn't the most frequent or most common situation. So yeah, you played the game of chicken this year and guess what? You got fucking smacked by a car.
I don't feel any better. Like sometimes we'll do like a podcast after a bad situation. I'm like, all right, I feel a little bit better after talking it out. I don't feel any better after talking it out right now.
Because you don't have the jazz in your heart yet. You don't have the rhythm.
No, and like I was a jazz guy.
It's about the trades you don't make.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like I don't know that there is a breaking news tweet that's going to hit me and be like, I feel better now.
What about it's like, all right, the Padres have agreed to pay the last 6 years of Xander's deal.
Shut up, Coley. We're not doing this.
I'd be so happy
I knew you were going to do
have
this.
someone I can respect wearing number 2 on my team again.
There's that, and it's also just the fact that my confidence is completely gone. Like my confidence in the Red Sox ability to acquire a premier player in this league, I don't have it.
There's no reason to have it.
Yeah.
11 months ago, you had it all in your fucking hand. And you just mismanaged it so poorly that you fucking ruined it. Like you had gotten people to buy in and feel something. And even some fans forgave you after the Devers trade. And you still fucked it up, man. It's like Christopher in The Sopranos, man. It's like so many different times we gave you a fucking way out. And every time you picked the wrong pathway and like, now we're suffocating. Now you're putting the hand over your mouth and you feel like this is the end.
Who do you blame the most, T?
Oof. I think it's a combination. I do. I think there's some limitations with John Henry not being willing to spend past 264. That makes things hard. And I also think Craig Breslow, if you were willing to spend that amount of money, I think there was a bridge to be more aggressive and push it over the top. So I think this is both of them. I think there's blame to go each way. This is how they're run. And I think there's an issue with how they're ran.
I would agree, especially after looking at how the Blue Jays have changed things up. It's like if you're gonna,
it's there for you.
If you're gonna set your limitations at $100 million below the team within your own division, then I just buy a different team. Buy.
That's it.
If you're gonna act like a mid-market team, then buy a mid-market team. Don't buy a big market team and act like a mid-market team. Don't do that. Like that's what the Red Sox are doing right now. Like I've never been a sell the team guy because 4 World Series titles, I'll give you a long leash on that. After, thinking coming up as a kid and into high school, thinking I would never see one and being told I would never see one, to get to see 4. Yeah, that buys some patience with me. But I think we have enough of a sample size now where it's like you've changed your philosophy. You're not the 2018 team that was the number 1 payroll, and you don't have to be number 1. Be like you can act
top 5.
Like you get top 5. I think that's a reasonable ask. But now when you have a team in your own division that is $100 million in payroll more than you, and you're saying we're not getting there, like we're not, like that's just not something that we're ever going to do. Okay, then you sell the team and go buy like the Guardians. Like if you want to do that, like that's not how the Red Sox should behave. The Red Sox goal should always be to be competitive, not just from a financial standpoint, not just with the teams in your own division, but the teams in all of baseball. Like once the league starts to change, it's like, like 200 million. Like I remember when like and when the Yankees won the World Series in 2009, like their payroll was like low 200s. And you're like, can you fucking believe they're spending $200 million on their payroll? That's insane. And now like you're a dog shit team if you spend $200 million. Like that's not good enough. So the times have changed, and the ownership's view of how teams should be run from a financial perspective, they have not changed. And that's not a good thing. That's not a good thing when you set financial restrictions on yourself that you don't need to, because you can afford to spend more than the restrictions that you've placed upon yourself.
And I think it's even scarier when you look at the upcoming CBA, and you had Sam Kennedy yesterday, like from an entertainment standpoint, advocating for a deadline during the offseason makes a lot of sense. That's an extremely non-player friendly way of arguing like how the offseason should work and how money should work and a lot of these things. And I think over the next year, it's going to get louder and louder what John Henry is going to be pushing for. And we know he believes in a salary cap. What is this going to turn out to be?
That's in his own. Of course he does.
Exactly. What is that going to be a year from now as we hear that louder and louder and more leaks out about who's running the financial committee this time and all that shit? The Yankees crying poor in their own ways, but still spending more than you. I don't know. It's a very depressing place to be as a Red Sox fan. And it's like, I try to make this very clear all the time. I understand like you're still going to be like a roughly top 10 team in terms of spending. We're not the Rays or the A's, and it's the bottom of the MLB. I understand where you're at. But when you see the revenue numbers the Red Sox bring in compared to what they're investing in the team, and they're not up where those top teams are, and you have teams that every single year of the CBA have gone over while you just went over for the first time, like it just feels like you're not using this team in this market to the way you should, because when you put this at full go, it should be able to compete with any of the markets in baseball. You shouldn't be sitting there closer to 8 to 10 and just hanging around. It's just not going all in. And for a fan base and city that breathes and lives, and this is still a Red Sox town, I think when the team is functioning, it's hard to overcome the Patriots, but there's still, we saw in 2021 how it can take over the city. It sucks not to lean into that more, because at one time, John Henry and Tom Werner and the Larry Lucchino days, they fed into that. They believed into feeding into that, and they knew what it was capable of. And it goes back to that line, Coley uses it all the time. They just don't want it as bad as us. And that's really what it comes down to.
I saw someone say today, and I agree, I think they lost their hunger to win championships when Larry died. It was like John Henry was the money guy. Tom Werner was the TV show marketing guy. And Larry was the iron fist. He was I'm not dealing with this fucking shit. We're not, finishing second to the Yankees. Fuck the Yankees. Having that competitive edge and wanting it, like they don't have that. They haven't operated like that without Larry. Like basically since, like even before he died, when they moved him to Worcester, when he was declining in health, like Larry was the Red Sox attitude, and that has been severely missing without him. Because obviously, like John Henry, it's like, yeah, he likes baseball. Does he love baseball? I don't think so. I think he's far more invested in Liverpool, and the PGA stuff. It's like, yeah, whatever. Like it's a big money venture for him, but I think he likes baseball. I don't think he loves baseball.
It's where when you say like who do you blame? I don't know if blame's the right word, but if there's one person who's been through it all, and I've seen be allowed to spend Henry's money, it's Theo. It's like, what? You clearly see how rudderless this ship is. What are you doing? No one knows what he's doing.
But it's also, who is the guy that just paid Alex Bregman? It's Jed Hoyer.
Sure, yeah.
The guy who Theo handed the keys and essentially treated as his protege, like the guy to follow him. Like, that is a very telling thing, that this is a guy who last year Theo advocated for you to pay, and now the guy he brought along and raised and handed the keys over is now the one willing to put that money on the table to go get him. I don't know. It's just another variable of it that I was thinking about earlier. It's like Jed Hoyer of all guys,
Mm. Yeah. And the Ricketts of all ownership groups. It's like,
who are like a cheaper version of this ownership group.
Yeah.
Like that's how they have been framed. It's crazy.
Yeah. Happy for Bregman though.
course, get paid. I'm always happy when a guy gets paid.
Mhm.
And I would have been furious if the Red Sox gave him that much money. Like that, I think it's a bad deal. I don't think it's a bad deal because the Cubs gave it out. I think it's a bad deal.
And like, you can talk about the full no trade clause and what that means for a guy who has young kids. Like,
Yeah.
you can't decide what that means to a guy like that. So to be able to sit there and be like, I know my kids are going to live in Chicago until 2031 or whatever the fuck it is, like, that's a major thing. These are things that matter to players. And like I said, I don't want to assume what that present day value number is, because if we're hearing there's weird structure shit with the deferrals, who knows how it would work and all, you know, in the full picture.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't expect him to give you a discount. You're the Boston Red Sox.
But he did.
That's it.
He did. I think he tried. I think
exactly.
He tried to.
Exactly, Jared.
I think he tried to give them a discount, because I even saw.
It still wasn't enough.
Like I was reading some of the replies to the MLB Network hit that I did earlier today, and people were like, "Why is this guy talking like he knows that, like, you know, like the Bregman side of things, you know?" And I'm like, well, I think that Bregman tried to give the Red Sox a discount. Yeah. How much of a discount? I don't know, but yeah. He tried. I think he tried.
4 years ago, I would have sit and went back and forth with you, being like, oh, we're looking at what we have in terms of reports.
Yeah.
Listen to what Jared's saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, that 160 number's not real. Or 165.
No, it's just like the 170. It's probably like 140, 135, I'd assume, present day.
Well, how's Fenway Fest for you, T?
It was a lot of fun, man. I thought, you know, this year they had sold it out, and a lot of people that had been there year after year were like, the vibes are pretty good here. Like, I think everyone was feeling positive on the Alex Bregman front with everything that had been going on. And, you know, we were out and about. We thought we were going to film a lot more stuff. It kind of turned into like meet and greets and hangouts in different areas, but it was a fucking blast to catch up with everyone. And like, you know, we ended up, I think we thought we were going to be there a couple hours. We stayed the whole fucking day.
Mm-hmm.
We were there till like 5, 6 p.m. and it was a blast tagging along with Jared, and he introduced me to a lot of people, and I met a lot of people.
Who'd you meet?
Sam Kennedy. Oh. I met, I think in terms of Red Sox personnel, at least that people would know on the podcast, that was it. But it was cool to kind of tag along for a day and see what life's like through your eyes.
So me and T parked at the same garage. We were waiting for Mikey, and we went over to Gate C, which is where the entrance is, and within 10 to 15 minutes just waiting for Mikey to get over there, a line formed, and we hung out with people for 2 hours just outside before we could even get in. We were outside for 2 hours.
In front of Gate D. So like Fenway security's like, guys,
get the
like,
fuck
people,
out of the way. Take it.
You gotta move.
They moved us across the street to the sidewalk on where the House of Blues is. Yeah.
Oh, we got to see Roman Anthony for a second. He walked by us. He looked at Jared like he wanted to take a picture because we were doing the meet and greet, and then he just walked into like the EEI booth, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah,
it was cool.
It was pretty
People
cool.
had like, you know, Section 10 merch everywhere, like Section 10 flags. There was that kid. Let me play the clip of the kid because that was unbelievable. Did you see this,
Legend.
Coley?
Did I see it?
His group chat text was legendary.
Unbelievable. This is like, how old did you say this kid is? 7? He said he told me he was in 3rd grade. 3rd grader.
Wow.
Play the
It's like 8.
horn, Jerry.
These kids just don't listen. It's hit the fucking horn.
Yeah, it's true.
Hit.
Crazy.
And all these years later, I mean, you never hit the horn, and now we know why.
Happened.
Now we know why. This is what happens when you don't hit the horn.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, he was in 3rd grade. He was wearing a Ketchup Guppies t-shirt, and I mean, like, way to start him early. I love that. Now that's going to be in my head every time that, you know, I make some sort of like reference or comment. I'm like, there's 3rd graders that listen to this show.
We're like, welcome to Cock Gobblers.
I was talking about back shots 30 minutes ago.
Home of the cum cunt sandwich. It's like, whoa, easy.
Yeah, my mom's been to Dildo Island. Yeah. So I just got to be careful. moving forward. But got to see Loomer.
Oh, he was awesome.
Saw Pedro. Went up and did the Nesson hit. And got to see TC. Didn't really see a ton of players because we didn't like move around a ton. Like we went down on the field for a little bit. Like they let everyone out there to play catch with like wiffle balls and shit. The lines were
crazy,
outrageous. It was like a mile long line to get into the Green Monster. People were like in lines to get into like the clubhouses and stuff like that. The way that they did it was cool. So where we did the meet and greet for Section 10 night at the House of Blues in that room upstairs, that's where they did the autograph sessions with the players. So they like separated it so they could have space and all that shit. And you weren't outside in the cold waiting in line. I would say it's way better than the Springfield fan thing that they did. That one was the worst. Like it's like Foxwoods #1 far and away. The Fenway version of it is somewhere in the middle, and then down below the floor is the Springfield one. That one sucked. But yeah,
everyone misses Foxwoods though. I felt like everyone who's been like around these things, we talked to Rob Bradford. Everyone's just like, dude, you will not know what life was like going there for a couple days.
Yeah, it was a moment in time that we'll never be able to recapture. Maybe, I don't know, if they could always like partner with them again, or if they did something with like Encore. I don't know, but yeah, the Springfield one was terrible. But yeah,
I think it sucks how excited people were yesterday, because if they keep showing up, it gives them a reason to not adjust. But people showed up yesterday assuming one of their favorite players, speaking for all of them, was going to be signed when it is sometime. So a lot of people I feel like probably went there people went and spent money yesterday on stuff and then went home. I'm sure people bought like 2 jerseys and then went home, and then he was on the Cubs a few hours later. Like that, it's a shitty way to treat a fan base. It's a really shitty way.
People legitimately thought that the Red Sox had signed Alex Bregman and were keeping it quiet so that they could unveil him at FanFest. Like people thought that they were going to go there and get like a surprise. Here he is, Alex Bregman. And it's no a surprise. He's on the Cubs. Actually, go fuck yourself.
We have Jordan Hicks.
Yeah. Here's Jordan Hicks though. Did he go? There's no way he went.
No chance.
I don't think he did.
Yeah. Like you would, if I was Jordan Hicks, I'd be like, you have to give me at least $100K to go to that. And they'd be like, we'll give you $100K to stay home.
I've been dying for just a Jordan Hicks update. Like, he's throwing or he's practicing or here's like a video.
Oh,
he's
great.
The healthiest reliever in baseball by my estimation.
I feel so bad for like the Danny Collum, whoever we do sign next. People are going to be like, fuck you, dude. Like it's going to be a helpful player. People are just going to shit all over him. And I feel bad for whoever it ends up being. So because Jazz. If Jazz is the next guy, at least people already want to hate him.
Yeah. I totally forgot that the Rockies signed Michael Lorenzen. So now the Red Sox are the only team to have not signed a free agent this entire offseason. And I was fine with that distinction being like, well, Alex Bregman's still out there. So who gives a fuck that they haven't signed one yet? The one that they want is still available. So until he's not available, then let's pump the brakes with they've spent $0 in free agency. They're trying to. But now, no, fuck them. Now you can unleash the fury and be like, you fucking cheap bums, not spending not going the extra mile to make sure that Alex Bregman was with Boston for the next 5 fucking years. It's pathetic. It's
even worse now to like trade better prospect capital for $4 million a year. $4 million for Wilson Contreras. Like that's cheap fuck behavior.
Yeah.
I do wonder, like, I think those deals, like the Cardinals were hunting to eat money to get prospects back, but I get see that. What you're saying.
It just makes you look like that's not enough money.
Oh, like and it just limits you if you don't handle business and free agency and now you're, looking to find another way to replace and you don't have the same assets to make those deals.
Right.
All of a sudden, your process has fucking flaws. If you pay Bregman, it all fits. It makes sense. Now that you don't, it's like, your plan A is out the window. What's your plan B? Is it a good one? Because if it's not, you're going to be in big fucking trouble when spring training rolls around. Yeah. And it's a month. It's 1 month or 1 day less than a month. Pitchers and catchers report. Cole Dog, are we wrapping?
Yep. See you, fellas.
Bye, Cole.
Bye, Coley.
I don't know why I called him Cole. I've never done that in my entire life. That made me uncomfortable.
You just called him Cole?
Yeah, I don't know. I was like looking for like a J Dog, like a shorter pronunciation.
Yeah, no, I feel you. Wow, it's just us again.
Name redacted.
Name redacted. Yep. No Steve. Yeah, a lot of people that came up to us at Fenway Fest were like, where's Steve? Kissing his dad, and he wasn't there to be like, no, don't say that. I don't like when you say that. He wasn't there to say that, to defend himself. But yeah, he's kissing his
2
dad
days.
today. Huh?
2 days making out with your dad in a row is pretty crazy.
That's crazy, bro.
1 day,
Especially
like, all right,
after
you
the
get
holidays. It's like, haven't you spent enough time with your family?
Just a family guy, Steve Perot.
Oh, loves his family. Yeah. I feel like I've heavy sighed a lot on this show.
It's the only way to feel. It's weird to talk about this because, like you said, a lot of the times when we have these heavier podcasts, you come out and you feel better, or you feel like, all right, like maybe there's a pathway that excites me or gets me going. And I think most people are just going to be deflated right now. And there is a simple one that can get everyone excited and going, but with the way they operate, we don't believe in it, and the alternatives aren't going to get people that excited, and it just sucks because I think a lot of people were excited by Craig Breslow's words at the start of the offseason, and joke's on all of us because, we've gone through plenty of off seasons. Last year was different, but a majority of them have been very similar now, and eventually you can only get fucked over or, things play out in a wrong way so many times and you're not surprised. I can't sit here and be like, oh my God, because in the back of your head, there's always that little voice now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it's, I can only talk about it from a personal, this is not like Nesson. This is not MLB Network. It's like you get a different version of if you're on network television, you're very professional. You look into the camera and you're giving your takes and whatever. It's a podcast. It's a more relaxed format. So I am talking about it from my own personal experience, and it sucks. It sucks, especially for me. It sucks so much for me.
Well, to have your guy in the clubhouse after a couple years where that kind of relationship wasn't exactly there post JD, and now it's damn, to have someone in there that really not only gives you perspective, but and you could connect with and resonate with. That sucks.
Yeah,
man.
there's that part of it. There's that part of it for sure. And then there's just it's that's part of the gig, is just when something bad goes wrong with the Red Sox, it's just fucking, here's your arrows, fucking right here. And I just got to wear it. There's nothing I can do. It's just,
the same thing happens to me. People give me the bootlicker tag on Twitter. I'm just anyone who throws that on just hasn't listened to any content you've made for
I just
3
don't
or 4
understand
years.
where it comes from. Where
just
where
because
does the idea that the second that something like this happens, that you anticipate that I'm going to defend the team on this?
But there's this sickness, and I've noticed it, and it's a trend amongst older Red Sox fans. I think our generation, this younger group, can say, this fucking sucks. This pisses me off. But I could sit here as a fan, people tweeting you yesterday being like, weren't you fucking wearing Red Sox merch on Nesson? We are fans of the team. And just because we're not happy with the spending or we have an issue with how they operate, does that mean I can't appreciate Roman Anthony, one of the best young players in the sport, or Garrett Crochet, one of the best pitchers in the sport? Fuck no. I can sit there and be like, all right, we're unhappy, but still, are we the fucking Pittsburgh Pirates? No. So it's just a balance. You can enjoy certain parts while being pissed at others.
Did you see the replies when I said on Nesson that Casas could be a secret weapon?
Welcome to my life.
That's crazy.
That's why I talk the way I do.
So,
because anytime I talk about Casas, that's what my mentions look like.
You overdo it. You do it unprompted. You'll just insert it into a conversation where no one asked for it. TC was we're waiting on Bregman, but can we at least be excited about the team that's here? And I was like, yeah, the young players and this and that. And I was like, part of me looks at Casas and it's people have just written this guy off. And if he goes down to Worcester and gets right, this was a guy that was a middle of the order bat at the start of last year. And like that's in there somewhere. So if like that's kind of something where, yeah, like you build your roster not even thinking that he exists, but what a weapon that would be if he can just emerge and be like a dude that has like a 400 on base and a 500 slug. Like that's awesome. And everyone was like, fuck you. Like you think like that they're just like not going to sign Bregman and they're going to say, well, we have Casas, so it's okay. I was like, that is not what I said.
Like they were going to put Casas at third base like when he got fucking drafted for a week.
Yeah. Like, so like up until Bregman went to the Cubs, my mental state was, man, you can't even say anything positive about the Red Sox right now without getting absolutely destroyed. And it's worse for me because of the Nesson affiliation. People like John Henry fucking pays for you to say things. I was like, the last time I talked to John Henry was that picture of us down on the field. And we talked about concerts. Like we've never talked about baseball.
Well, people act like if you're sitting there and you're like, let me tell you, John, this is what you need to do. This is what
John Henry gives a fuck about what I say,
bro.
Because do you think he's listened to a single second of this podcast? No, never.
People don't realize, like in today's game, especially, like the disconnect between the people who work in the front office that go to school for analytics and all these things versus us who are fans and we talk about the game. There's no correlation at all. They operate on a different frequency. It's like us and guys who are on fucking what do you call that street where you make money? Where with the stock market?
Wall Street.
It's like that. Where like, oh no, we're professionals. We operate in our capacity and do it that way. They're not sitting here getting fucking ideas and, oh, we should pay this guy? Cool. I'm going to float that at the next meeting. Like, it's just not what it is. We talk about it. We love to talk about it as fans with each other. But like, bro, they're on a whole fucking different frequency. And in what? The Red Sox front office? It's Breslow and like seemingly 3 or 4 people. It's not even the huge kitchen we heard about during the Heim Bloom era. It's even more like closed circuited. So who is it? Is it like Taylor Smith and Craig Breslow and like Mike Grootman and like who else? Maybe Theo gets on the phone here and there. Is Eddie Romero in every meeting? I wonder. Is Raquel? Like we used to hear all these people in the fucking kitchen together. Brian O'Halloran, the babysitter. Like, what the fuck is Brian O'Halloran doing? You know, fucked up his Red Sox GM, couldn't give Heim Bloom a single piece of decent advice. What does he hang around? Does he just report back to John Henry and let him know what's going on? Who's this very tight-knit circle that works with Craig Breslow? That's just what I'd be curious about.
I don't know.
Because we've heard murmurs that, like, there's people that used to be in the know, and you said this a couple podcasts ago, that just aren't in the know. They used to be like, hey, 20 minutes before this deal broke, this is what's going on. Those people aren't in there anymore.
No, there's people that are like highly important within the Red Sox organization that will find shit out when we find it out on Twitter, which I find that to be fascinating.
And with Taboni and Devin Pearson and these guys out, like, I felt like Taboni was always a nice balance because it was a guy who came from a scouting background and they've ripped the scouting department apart. The Cubs have as well, to their, credit. But, those different voices, those different people, to me, I always looked at a Paul Taboni or someone like that as someone who was more willing to jump past just a model or something. And without those guys here, it's only going to lean more. And that's where I wonder, like someone like Taylor Smith, who got that assistant GM role very quickly. What's his role in all this? Who are the guys in that front office that were anti-Bregman a year ago versus the guys that were pro? And where are they a year later? And what the fuck are their ideas on how to fix this?
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you, when you hear them, you'd probably be like, what the fuck? Because they're the guys telling you that they should trade for Nolan Arenado a year ago.
Depressing.
But at the same time, like, you looked around at the power rankings. Did you see that from MLB a couple days ago? They released their first power rankings of 2026. Where do you think the Red Sox ranked?
13th.
Higher.
11th.
Higher.
9th.
Higher.
7th.
Higher.
It's wrong then.
5.
No, wrong.
Right? Like that's so, and to me, like I can sit here. Do I think their rotation is better than it was a year ago? Yes, I do. You look at Wilson Contreras and where he mixes with Alex Bregman. You say their bats equal each other out. Okay. The bullpen needs left-handed relief help. I do not think they are where they were a year ago, but maybe you expect more from Justin Slayton. 5 is too high. I agree.
Way
just
too
from
high.
that overall outlook. I think people nationally are higher on the trades they made. But once again, it's what are you shooting for? Are you shooting for it to just be a playoff team, or are you trying to push this to a level where you're competing with a team like the Blue Jays, who is all in, or the Yankees, who spend more, or the Orioles, who are pouring more in? It feels like you're falling behind, and it's hard to catch up if you're not using the same tools or the same muscles that they are. And if you think you're smarter and you don't have to use them, okay, let's see it.
I can't stomach an opening day lineup that has like Romy at second and Meyer at third. I think I can do Meyer at third if Bo's
With
at
Romy.
second.
Yeah.
But I can't do Story, because even like Story, like I think people are just, they've erased anything prior to last year. Like, what makes you think that Story's going to play 155 games in 2026? You know,
Like, he's 33. He's not young at this point in time. And like, we saw the defensive metrics regress already last year. Who knows how shortstop will continue to hit on him? And like, I don't know what Trevor Story we're going to get. Like, can you 100% say you're going to get the June 1st on Trevor Story that had like a 124 WRC plus and was like he was hitting 289, 334, 492 with an 827 OPS. Like, those are Bregman offensive numbers. Like, are you going to get that? I hope. If you don't get that, like, the lineup becomes dramatically thinner, and it's Wilyer Abreu's facing lefties. Like, that's going to be a process. I like the idea of Meyer and Romy together because you know Romy's going to fucking hit lefties as well as anyone in the sport. But will Carlos Narvaez, what that bat looks like if you told me it was a little less than it was last year and he doesn't have that first half, I wouldn't be shocked. At the same time, all I care is that he's throwing guys out like he did a year ago. But that's where you start thinking about like a Duran, and it's hard to not have that bat as part of this mix.
yeah, they got work to do. And they're running out of time to do it. I believe the report date for pitchers is a month from yesterday.
Exactly.
So
Great leverage you have.
yeah, TikTok. I think the Bo market will move quickly now that Bregman's off the table, though.
It's just that Don Mattingly connection. People can't stop talking about it. And when you hear like something,
You're not
harps that
signing
heavily,
with a team because of a fucking bench coach. You're signing with a team because they're the highest bidder and you think it's a good place to win or whatever. Like, you're not like, man, really love that bench coach.
it's just weird to hear it like talked about so much. But to me, it's like the Phillies don't do this unless they're ready to put real shit on the table. And so far we've seen like Dabrowski isn't someone who just waits around and like, hey, I'll take a Zoom with you or whatever. No, when he wants something, he goes and gets it. And that's why you should be nervous. And then like Alec Boehm, does that become it? Is that going to be your third baseman?
If we trade for Alec Boehm and like that's like the
that's what I'm saying.
It's like, fuck.
That's it. And that's where you're just going to be down. And like, that's another guy who I'd question how he would perform in this market, and a guy who regressed defensively and offensively last year.
Stuff.
But like those are going to be the options on the table if they do go that route.
Stuff.
Like Cora called Wilson Contreras his cleanup hitter yesterday, which
I probably
seemingly
figured him to be somewhere in there. Yeah.
when I drew up the Red Sox lineup with Bregman in it, I was like, oh, okay. Like, let's say Roman's first. We'll put Bregman 2, Duran 3, Wilson Contreras 4, Wilyer 5, Story 6, and then 7, 8, 9 was like Meyer, Narvaez, Rafaela. You take Bregman out of that mix, it feels weird trying to piece that together. Because like, what, you're going to bump Trevor Story up and throw him in and say, you know, you hit somewhere in that mix? That middle of the order, like that 5-6 area, it gets questionable really fast.
I don't want to talk about it yet. Like, let me finish the offseason before we start making lineups. And
But a week from now is when you get Red Sox lineup projection 1.0 from like Castillo or McCaffrey or whoever. And that's where we are in the offseason. That's where shit starts to happen.
when Bo comes off the table, we can do shitty Red Sox lineup projections.
Do you think they need to make a move before he does? That would be my
Do
question.
they need to make a move before Bo comes off the table?
Yes.
I want to know.
If we
Like,
both sit here-
give me some reporter that's going to be like, they are at least talking to Bo. We don't even know if they're fucking talking to him.
And all we've heard is
Interest.
They've talked. There's interest, yeah. And
And
last
that
time
was
we
a
heard
leverage play
Julian
with Bregman.
McWilliams.
I don't think that there was any legitimate interest. Like Bregman was always plan A.
That's it. We've never heard anything substantial on the Bregman front except Jen McCaffrey, who like a month ago was like, there's some in the Red Sox front office that view Bregman as an interesting alternative. Alternative. Keyword. Alternative.
They view
Not
Bregman as an alternative?
Bichette.
Oh,
Excuse me.
Bichette, okay.
Bichette is the alternative. Alternative. So like that was like another option. But still.
How often does a top free agent sign with a team that he was viewed as an alternative by at the start of the offseason? How often does that happen?
Not often. But I guess when you
Honestly,
say like
it happened with
Bregman,
Manny. I want to say, well, it was different off seasons. I get, yeah. So I guess that doesn't count. But like they wanted Bernie Williams first, and then he went back to the Yankees, and then they signed Manny.
I guess like the Cubs coming out to get Bregman when a lot of people think they wouldn't pony up would be somewhat similar to the Red Sox if they ponied up, but it's on a different scale. It's just what it's going to be money wise. We're probably talking $100 million more minimum.
Wow, what a depressing episode, T.
I want to save some of our like the stuff that came out from Fenway Fest, like the news topic, so we have something to talk about Wednesday. Because I have a feeling like maybe we'll get a story in the next 24 to 48 hours with a new trade target name. It's been a while since we've even had a new name.
Well, I feel like we're going to have to get a guest for different perspective on Wednesday.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Anyone in mind?
I don't know. Who do you want?
It's tough. Like, I think Gatillo and McAdam, they do the most reporting right now. You've already had Lou and Will on.
But do we really need to like hammer the Bregman stuff more if there's nothing new? Like, I feel like we should like interview someone to be like, all right, moving on.
Like something fun that's like away from. Okay. Yes, I like that. So, someone with the Red Sox.
Or Red Sox.
What's Sam Kennedy doing?
I don't know what he's doing.
Not Craig Breslow probably would not be too interested in doing an interview right now.
I doubt he would have any interest in doing it right after losing Bregman.
How about like a Red Sox legend to look back on better days?
I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll look at the list of 78.
Did you guys ever do Bill Miller?
No, I don't have any contact with him.
Mike Timlin?
I interviewed him for the Nesson show, but not for the 10.
He just
great dude,
got
by the way.
Red Sox Hall of Fame induction.
Yeah.
Might be like good 07 stories. And before, obviously.
I want to do 07.
I'm going to work my angle.
Red Sox just lost Alex Bregman. We're a rudderless ship. Let's do 07 talk.
Well, I just like, you look at it, you can get 04, you get 07. And like one of my favorite things is after they won in 07 when he goes like up to Tim Wakefield. And he's like, this fucking guy is like the greatest guy in the world. He's so unselfish. And you just see on Wakefield's face, like he's all like emotional and shit. Like, love it. One of my favorite moments.
Mine as well. I love them both.
If you didn't have Lester on, that would have been my thing. But I remember that episode.
What was that? 2021, maybe?
Yeah, like towards COVID. Like, yeah, COVID-y era.
I could probably get it.
I just remember his face was like very close to the camera. At the same time, we're going to have Brock Holt coming up soon.
I did see. Oh, yeah, I forgot. I saw Brock yesterday.
Okay. He looked happy to see you. And there was talk of what was coming.
What do you mean?
We all know the number.
Oh, yeah.
When you hit 600,
yeah.
like he knew.
Yeah,
it wasn't like he was like, oh, yeah. No, he was like, we're going to get it done.
Yeah, he knows the deal.
He acknowledged me. I was surprised.
Did he say Tyler?
I didn't think he'd remember me.
Did he call you T-Dog?
No, he called me Tyler.
Oh, okay.
But still, I'll take it.
All right.
Ooh. TC might not be bad.
Yeah, we could talk to TC.
TC gave a great perspective where he could give some Bregman thoughts, and then we can get into fun shit.
Like 310 to left.
Yes. Ah, geez, this is very on brand for me.
All right. Jake's takes.
Love you, Jake.
People want you back on camera. After you're not sick anymore, people want you back on camera. Yeah. Yeah.
Jake, very hot.
Yeah, he's sexy.
When I used to like compare myself, like how I look to Jake, like people would get mad on Jake's behalf.
Yeah, you're not. Yeah, Jake's on a different level than you.
That's okay. I understand that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You look good, but Jake looks great.
Bro, I got flamed. People were like, I can see Tyler's balding and shit. I was like, listen, my hair lacked volume yesterday. I am losing hair over time, but it ain't that bad.
It's not great though. Any other takeaways from Fenway Fest?
Major news things. I think honestly, Casas was probably like the quote about Wilson Contreras. I think for a lot of people, they paint Casas as this self-absorbed guy who thinks he's like incredible because of the mental AB thing and all this. And I always talked about what he thinks of his career and what he hopes to be. But to come out and be like, Wilson Contreras is a better player than me now. He's been a better player than me his entire career. The Red Sox were right to go out and make that move and do what they had to do. That to me was like good for him, some maturity. And I'll be the first one to tell you, looking back at last year's spring training, when he talked about the Devers situation, I thought he meant well, but I thought he overstepped. You know, it's not his spot to talk about who's going to play where. And I thought he stood up for Rafael Devers because that was one of the guys, if you read through and he talked about it, who he hung out with after the games or went out to dinner. Devers was that guy. You know, they spent time together off the field. So like, I do think there was a bond there and he was trying to stick by his guy, but to come out and kind of just be like, yeah, like they were right to do what they have to do. I still have a ton of belief in myself. And he even noted he hopes to play some spring training games. Hopes. That should stick out quite a bit, in my opinion, because that should probably tell you, hopefully he's ready to start close to the beginning of the AAA season, but it's going to take time for him. He probably won't be ready for opening day.
Yeah, probably not. But not that long after.
That and just the lack of Masa talk.
What did you want them to say?
Just for them to talk a lot about rotating 4 outfielders and like Craig Breslow being like, oh, it was never likely we were going to trade a guy. Sure. Okay. But to already be kind of pushing yourself down the lane of like how we're going to make it work and to step away from the Ceddanne Rafael at second base thing. I feel like if you connect those dots, you see what they're going to be looking for post Alex Bregman.
Yeah.
Which hurts to even say out loud.
The Alex Bregman era. It's over.
Think about 5 years from now, like how you will remember that. Like he feels like such a main part of your identity right now as a Red Sox fan. And it's going to be 1 year he was here.
Yeah.
Weird.
Sucks. It sucks, dude.
Blows, man.
Yeah. I can't believe it. It felt like, you know, the 1 year that he was here felt like he had been here almost not all along, but definitely for more than just last year. And then part of me is going to show up to spring training expecting to see him, or like going to like Fenway being like, well, where's he at? Oh, he's not here. He's on a different team in a different league.
Like the pictures of you guys on the field after they clinched last year, like stuff like that. It's just, that doesn't exist anymore. That connection isn't there anymore. And it's brutal when you see the quotes from Roman Anthony and Trevor Story like 5 hours before being like, man, I sat in the dugout when I was DHing and fucking Bregman was right there every at bat telling me how to go about that. Trevor Story, a lot of people forget that Bregman was like giving him the tip at the plate that got him right and like turned his season around. Like those little things have value and they should be emphasized. And clearly the Red Sox valued him to a degree if they were willing to go beyond what they did a year ago. The other thing, Marcelo Meyer has added 10 pounds. That's legit. A guy who needs it. I think he was 208 at the end of last year, now up to 218. Connolly Early, similarly, or a similar amount of weight has been gained too. So yeah, and Cutter Crawford is throwing off a slope for the first time.
You met Cutter as king in real life yesterday too.
I did. I didn't know if he wanted that out there, but I did. It was a pleasure.
What do you mean? He tweeted that he was there.
That is true. Yeah, I saw that tweet. So yeah, I did meet Cutter as king, and to meet a legend and the guy who took the torch from Devers Enjoyer, who it's weird to look back now at like, you know, Cutter as king is like the next generation, the guy who took it to a whole nother level, but it makes you appreciate the roots of Devers Enjoyer and someone who was able to level it up like that.
Devers Enjoyer is out there somewhere.
Dude just left us, bro. He's like, you ever watch Avatar: The Last Airbender?
No.
Dude, it's a classic show. And it's anime, but it's a little away from typical anime. It used to be on Nickelodeon back in the day. Great fucking show.
That's awesome.
Something that will make you cry. You should watch it.
I won't. Yeah. What a day. What a day we had until we didn't.
I was so happy going to sleep.
Yeah, I mean, like we were basically told it's happening tonight.
Like as we're walking out, like when I tell you, it was like a movie. It was like walking out. Jared's like, dude, and I'm like, what? And I'm like, all right. So we're like, I'm going home. I'm like, who knows? Maybe the next 24 hours. And to wake up to pure fucking hell, there's no worse feeling.
I genuinely did feel so bad for you knowing that you were asleep when it happened. I was like, fuck, man, T's gonna wake up tomorrow morning like a train hit him.
It makes me feel better that like people at least know they're like, oh yeah, Tyler's definitely asleep. Like there's no other outcome here. Because I feel like a couple of years ago, people were like, oh, he's hiding. He doesn't know how to respond. He's freaking out. It's like, no.
I tweeted that
I was
you were
all cuddled
asleep.
up. Thank you.
Yeah.
Would you have recorded last night? Would you have been mentally there? I don't know if I picture like if we had to, we would have got it done. I wasn't at home, so I would have been in a tough spot. But
yeah, I think obviously the preference would be to get something out immediately. But I don't like to comment on big stuff like that unless I have all the news, you know, like because
even during this one, we get like the actual Red Sox offer.
Yeah. And I, the Devers trade, like making the video immediately after. And it's like, well, a lot of context was missing. But yeah.
But also everyone expects you to have a fucking full-fledged opinion and take the minute the news drops.
Yeah.
It's like, well, if you're going to hold this to me for the next 10 years, like I'd like to be a bit informed.
Sure. Yeah. All right. Quick little 2-hour bonus pod on a Sunday. Not bad. We'll take it.
We grind.
We do.
Me and you this weekend.
It's me and you the whole off season. I mean, fucking Coley's been here
true.
and there, but Steve, I mean, like he's like, season's over. See you in April. You know, like so. Yeah. I mean, like you haven't missed any events. This is someone that has a full-time job outside of this full-time job, and he's driving from fucking Cape Cod to be at events. My guy grinds. Also, speaking of which, the new merch drop came out yesterday. T's face is on one of the shirts.
Hell of a surprise. I had no idea until a couple hours before when you had sent the text, and I was like, oh my God, like I want to rock that every Patriots game going forward. And I don't know how many people like non-Section 10 fans will realize it's like another face, but the whole drop, the beanie, I'm in love with the fucking beanie.
3 beanies and the black on black t-shirt, the black on black hoodie, and the Patriots t-shirt.
Hopefully the Patriots win tonight, because if they don't, holy shit.
Yeah.
It might keep the Red Sox off the radio tomorrow, though.
No, I don't think you're avoiding that.
We'll get a segment. Yeah. We'll do one.
Yeah. All right. I guess we'll see everyone on Wednesday. And yeah, I guess we'll just take this instead of doing like a bonus pod on Friday. This will just be like the bonus pod of the week, and then Wednesday will be done, I guess. Unless something else happens, then whatever, we'll figure it out. But all right. See you then. Ba-doop, doop, doop.
Buenas noches, amigos.